And we are live here inside of Millett Hall, where there is one team remaining undefeated, and they reside inside of Oxford, Ohio, the Miami RedHawks, the lone undefeated team left in all of college basketball. Gavin Stuck, joined as always by Jake Zirolli, and wow, do we have a big one tonight here, Jake, where it's a little bit snowy inside, a whiteout here inside of Millett Hall. I haven't seen one of these before during my time here. Not yours either. So, I mean, this is just an unbelievable atmosphere. 28 minutes away from the opening tip here on a game that's going to be nationally televised on ESPNU, not ESPN2, ESPN. It's a primetime game. Jake, what do you got for us to lead us off here?
It absolutely is. A primetime game is exactly how I describe this one. I don't care if these are two mid-majors. This team that we are watching, folks, is one of the best teams in the country, no matter what way you slice it. And as you were saying, Gavin, the fans are here in full force. A whiteout tonight. They're giving out overalls like they got at Indiana and Tennessee, the striped overalls. People are excited. I mean, the atmospheres at the UMass game and the Northern Illinois game were great. This one has potential to be even better. The Battle of the Bricks, yet another chapter in which Ohio actually does lead the series quite handily, 121-96, with their last meeting being a 75-66 Bobcat victory on March 1st of 2025 at the Convocation Center. But Miami looks to get one back here, and this is just going to be a real exciting game.
Yeah. And, Jake, the storyline usually when these two teams meet, is the Battle of the Bricks, the rivalry that this entails. But it feels like all week, in the last few weeks even, leading up to this one, it hasn't been about the rivalry. It's been about the fact that this game's been moved. First it was ESPNU. Now it's on ESPN. We got moved back an hour now to 9 p.m. on ESPN. So, that's a big storyline. And, of course, the RedHawks continue to win. Last weekend, the SBC matchup against the MAC, a lot of the MAC teams struggled, but there's a team that didn't, and that's the RedHawks. They don't struggle. They get a big victory against Marshall in a really tough environment as well over there in Huntington, West Virginia. And, those are all the stories that we can talk about. And then it also, by the way, the oldest rivalry in MAC also happens to be played tonight on this Friday night here inside of Millett Hall. So, I mean, there's so many different storylines that we can go this way, whether it's the RedHawks hot shooting, all the scoring that they've brought to the table, or just the fact that Ohio can come in here and continue to really, lead this series that we have here. So,
absolutely. Plenty of subplots in this one, each one more compelling than the last, as the boos rain down as the Bobcats come out to shoot around with just about 26 and a half minutes to go until tip-off here. That was deafening in here, folks. Could barely even hear myself talk, and I have a loud voice. We were talking about that game against Marshall. Miami claimed victory in that one, 90-74. They were up 18 at half. They were up as many as 24 in that game. They let it get away. I remember actually at halftime, it might have been a little before halftime, I remember turning the game off. It was 41-17 because I had homework to do. I'm doing my homework, then I get an ESPN notification saying Marshall has cut it down to single digits. So immediately that I was like, oh gosh, what's going on here? I checked the game. Marshall's down 8. The crowd's going. I've really gotten away from him. They were able to keep it under wraps. Going into some stat leaders from that game, scoring leader was Ian Elmer with 18 points. He was also the rebound leader with 9. Elmer's been doing it all this season. He really has. Averaging 11.8 points and 6 rebounds. The points number good enough for third on the team. The rebounds leading the team, even ahead of the big man Antoine Wolfuk. It was Luke Skaljak with 7. Skaljak always been the basketball for this team. He really just, his ability to see the court is really something that's in this game. In just the game of college basketball, really, especially as a left-handed guard, it's a little different right-handed dribble. So then when you push a left-handed dribble at them and a left-handed shot, it's just another layer of something for them to deal with. And do you think that Ohio's going to have that difficulty today, having to deal with a left-handed point guard like Skaljak?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Sorry, we're dealing with a little bit of technical difficulties. That's what happens when a place like Millett Hall, gets packed inside. We start to lose some, internet and the stream. Maybe not at its best or full that you guys are so used to. So we apologize for the technical difficulties that you may be receiving on the other end. But yeah, I mean, you talk about Luke Skaljak's play. I mean, he's been brilliant. 12.7 assists, 1 rebound. I think the steal category is another area that you can talk about too with this player. I mean, he is creating so many plays starting on the defensive end. You know, whether it's in a fast break, Luke Skaljak is one of the fastest players, and that's something a lot of people will skip and not talk about. You know, it's his speed. He's really good off-balance shots. I mean, whether it's a tough, you know, drive and lay or getting even to the free throw line at times, Luke Skaljak can really do it all, and I feel like that's been an important thing. They talked about it on the RedHawk Walk Talk over this week with Luke Skaljak on the air. I mean, he's been thrusted into a role, but they talked about how prepared he was just for that moment because of all the things that he's done. You know, watching a guy like Peter Suter, you know, develop within this program since he started here, and you know all these other great players, and including like Ian Elmer, who's really just been flawless. I mean, 18 points, 3 assists, 9 rebounds, and a block, and 4 for 4 from the three-point line. That was his stats at Marshall last week. I mean, these guys have been brilliant, and I feel like Luke Skaljak is a great player of just taking everything in and really learning the system. He obviously knew the system. I mean, me and you both weren't worried when Luke Skaljak had to step into the starting point guard role because we knew he's a talented player, one of the top point guards coming out of the state of Ohio when he was in high school, leading a Brecksville team to a state Final Four. I mean, this guy, he knows how to win, and you kind of see it on the court, like time in and time again, because he is able to lead this team alongside Peter Suter in the backcourt. But then you can also dish it to a guy like Ian Elmer who can, you know, sometimes just not miss. And then you have a guy like Brant Byers who's actually your leading scorer, averaging just shy of 15 points per game, who can also just really shoot the cover off the basketball and also can light up a quick 18 points consistently for you as well. So, I mean, it's so interesting with this team and all these players that you have, but I think a big key tonight is the physicality that the RedHawks are going to bring. How physical can you be for this game? I mean, you got to get to the free throw line, you got to knock your free throws down, but you also have to win the physical battle, because that's what OU's going to want to try to do. They're going to try to step into this game and out-physical you from the get. So it's a big one for Antoine Woolfolk and Ulmer Atlason down there in the trenches. You know, a rivalry like this, how prepared can you be for something like this? And I think two veteran guys like Atlason, one of the smarter players in the MAC, and then Antoine Woolfolk, just one of the more skilled and just trusted players in the entire MAC as well. So I think the physical battle in this one's going to be huge.
I mean, in a rivalry, as you said, in a rivalry as chippy and tough as this, folks, just been informed that tip-off will now be at 9:10, so we'll have a little bit of an extended pregame for you guys here. I'm sorry for cutting myself off. We were just informed of that a few seconds ago by our director, so we'll have a little more stuff for you before we kick it to Luke and Andrew for the actual game. But either way, as I was saying, in a rivalry game like this where Ohio wants to come in and shut down this undefeated season, they're going to get physical. It's going to be a tough game, and Miami's just got to respond to that. I think the fact that they're two big men, being Atlason and Woolfolk, they're both so complete. They really are great scorers, but they're also physical rebounders and tough interior defenders as well. And they're going to need that because Ohio matches up pretty well in the height department, but scoring-wise, they also have some very solid scoring bigs. Aiden Hadaway averaging 14.2 points per game, and Javen Simmons with 14 points per game of his own. They do get a lot of interior points. A lot of their scoring comes from the interior, so it's going to be important for them to win that battle. Going back to that game against Marshall, Miami's team stats, 56% from the floor, 44 from three, and 76 from the free throw line. So just about the same in the free throw department. As for three-point shots, a little bit above their 39.8% average, and their shooting percentage, 56%, a little bit above their 53.6% average. Starting five in that game was Antoine Woolfolk, Brant Byers, Peter Suter, Luke Skaljak, and Ian Elmer. So these standard starting five for the RedHawks post Evan Ipsaro. And you even referred to that earlier, but how Skaljak's been able to step into the starting point guard role even after it's a different skill set. He is a lot more pass-first minded. I think anybody that watches his team can see that. But the difference that they made together when they would play together in a tandem in the backcourt was clear, but it also I shouldn't say exposed, but it made clear just how much Skaljak is able to cover in addition to what Ipsaro can do, which when he was healthy at the start of the season was plenty.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Those are two best friends as well. They've talked about that as well. You know, off of the court, these guys are together all the time as a team in general, but also Ipsaro and Skaljak. I mean, these two are, basically like brothers since they've stepped onto campus. And Epsaro kind of took Skowjak under his wing in Skowjak's freshman year, and Skowjak showed so many high signs. I mean, I talked about it a lot last year around the building, was just how proficient Skowjak was when he was on the court. And this year now he's getting an opportunity to play 30 minutes a game, and he's been very consistent as well. Whether, it's delivering in the points category, he can be your leading scorer. I mean, I think about that Kent State game. He came in to basically his hometown in Kent State and was able to, deliver for the team when needed. Had, the clutch shot late to send him to overtime and things like that. But he can also be the guy who's going to get you 9 assists in a game if that's needed to be. Let's say Peter Suter, like that Buffalo game. Peter Suter was hot, 37 points. He's not going to probably pass the ball nearly as much, and he didn't. I think he only had 1 or 2 assists in that game. That was a while ago now, it feels like. But besides the point, Skowjak that game has 9 assists and 18 points. He's able to do things like that as well, and I think that's so important and so vital for a guy who's going to step into the point guard role. A lot of times you see a backup point guard come into the role and take over that starting job, especially a true sophomore. You're going to see some things where maybe he struggles in a category, but I just don't really see it with Skowjak as much. I don't see the struggles nearly as much, and that's just been the impressive part. Obviously, Epsaro, great job. He was always, been able to get to the line. That was something he's always talked about, is, getting downhill, getting to the line, and, looking for a creative shot. But Skowjak, he's doing a great job, especially recently, driving in and kicking the ball out. Starting up the offense with him as well. And, I've been super impressed with him and along with the rest of this team. But there's a reason they're 24-0, and it's because there's playing 9 guys consistently, and they're all contributing at a high rate as well. So,
absolutely. Their depth has been a huge part of their success. A team is only as good as its bench. Your starting 5 can only do so much. And this next guy up mentality that Travis Steele's impressed into his players has been very, very clear throughout this entire season. Moving on to the Bobcats of Ohio. They come in at 13-12, 7-5 in the MAC. That's good for 5th of 13 in our Grand Old Conference. Of course, located in Athens, Ohio, about a 3-hour drive from here. So it shouldn't be too bad of a bus ride for them on their way back home. Their head coach is Jeff Bowles. In his 7th season with the program, he's amassed 127 victories as well as 88 defeats. So the longtime Bobcat coach making yet another trip inside Millett Hall, and none of his previous ones have ever been as big as this one. In their last game, which was their installment of the MAC SBC Challenge, they headed to Old Dominion, where actually Miami defeated them earlier in the season here at Millett Hall, 85-72. Actually, that was the first game of the season. But they fell, the Bobcats did, to the Monarchs 78-72 on Saturday. Scoring leader in that game was A.J. Sheldon. Sheldon, the senior guard from Dublin, Ohio, again, just down the road. Admittedly, being from Connecticut, my Ohio geography is not great, but saying just down the road usually seems to work for most of these places. Either way, the rebound leader was Aiden Hadaway, the senior forward from Lafayette, Georgia, 6'8", 220 pounds, with 13 boards, a double-double for Hadaway, 12 and 13 for him. He's going to be a problem today, Gavin. Yeah. Just his impact, not only scoring but also rebounding, is something that even I think Miami doesn't have. Atlason and Woolfolk complement each other and probably create those numbers, or at least something like them. So how do you think Hadaway, being a creator of both points and rebounds, how do you think that Steele is going to try to mix in Atlason and Woolfolk together to deal with his not only his competitiveness but also his physicality?
Right. I mean, you're going to have to throw some different things at Hadaway. I mean, he's such a talented player. He's making his 66th career start, all of them being at Ohio as well. So if there's a guy who understands the rivalry, it's Aiden Hadaway. He's the guy that I thought about when I said earlier in the show, bringing physicality. That's the first guy that comes to my mind, obviously, Aiden Hadaway. I mean, 6'8", 220 pounds, big frame. But you still look at frame-wise, Antoine Woolfolk, 6'9", 245, a former Division I tight end. This guy can be as physical as all get out, and that's something, that Woolfolk has always been able to express on the basketball court. So I think the main thing is that when Woolfolk's on the floor, I think Travis Steele has really, beat it into him this week. They've had a lot of time to prepare for this, game, a week off after, 6 days off, after that game at Marshall. I mean, it's really been a lot about being physical in my mind for Woolfolk, and it's not something that you got to beg him to do, right? I mean, it's not something that you're going to, man, I really hope Woolfolk's super physical tonight because you're going to get that out of them. But I think where Hadaway could really thrive is if you get Woolfolk in some foul trouble and all of a sudden Almar Allison has to step in. I mean, they are much different players. Obviously, they both can play the same 5-hole position, but Allison more of a guy who three-point arc. Woolfolk, he showed he can knock down some three balls, but it's not what he's looking for offensively. He's looking to back you down and get physical. And ultimately, if Hadaway is able to get him into foul trouble and the rest of these Bobcats, that's when you can start to maybe see something really clicking for Ohio, because I do think Hadaway has a much more physical and, rebounding advantage over Allison, and even, Brant Byers, who you may see guard him a little bit too as well. So,
I mean, we're talking about size and physicality, and for Miami, that is perfectly personified actually through their third forward off the bench, Tyler Robbins. He's 6'10", 245-pound freshman from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Just so you know, folks, I'm 5'8" and 140 pounds, and we're the same age. So that's a little crazy. But I actually don't see him warming up tonight. Gavin, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't see Tyler Robbins out there.
Yeah, I saw Robbins when I was walking in. He was in street clothes, but I didn't really think much of it at the point. But, I mean, it's key to note he hasn't played in a few games as of recently. So you have to think it's something that's been lingering, and ultimately they decided to not even dress him tonight. So, I mean, it is big news, though, like you said, especially if something happens like, foul trouble from these forwards like Woolfolk or Allison or even Ian Elmer and Brant Byers. I mean, foul trouble can happen, but we talked about the depth. I mean, you can still look at this depth on this team and, look at guys who are coming off the bench like Trey Perry, Kyle Waltz, and Justin Kirby. All of these guys, definitely not 6'10", 245 pounds, right? But guys who can, still do a lot of things on the offensive and defensive end, especially a guy like Justin Kirby, who has just been phenomenal since coming onto the scene at Bowling Green. He has been, I think, a top 5 player, top 6 player in this entire team, and even might be one of the best freshmen in the entire Mid-American Conference. He has been phenomenal. I could go on and on about Justin Kirby's play, and I think he's going to be a vital piece of tonight's game. I mean, he's a huge part in basically every game since he stepped onto the scene, but 9 points, 3 rebounds, 100% from the field at Marshall on a tough environment for a guy like Justin Kirby, a freshman who missed half of the season because he was probably the look was for him to get redshirted. I mean, it's just crazy how mature he is on the court and how ready he is for every moment that's thrown his way. So I don't think you should expect to see Justin Kirby have a slow night or a quiet night. I think he's going to come out here, thrive on this environment. I mean, he came into that UMass game and he was dunking on dudes all. I mean, it was just unbelievable. He really feels for that environment. And I mean, I know he's used to a big environment coming from the Hoosier State, the state of hoops, in my opinion, and I think yours as well, Jake, with the way you're nodding your head. I mean, Kirby came from a place that wins and is used to these tough environments. I mean, he was playing in Hinkle Fieldhouse for state championships just 2 years ago. I mean, this guy understands the big environments and he understands the big moments. So him coming off the bench in that 6th or 7th player on this team, I mean, it's scary when you talk about depth.
Yeah, I mean, he really has been one of the integral pieces of this team, shooting 64.1% from the floor. As a freshman, folks, that is a gaudy number. He's leading the team with the minimum number of shot attempts from both the free throw line and the three-point line, shooting 83.9% from the charity stripe and 50% from three. Had a really, really solid season and been an asset that I don't think anyone expected him to be going into the season. I think we all expected him to be a rotation guard, getting in minutes and more preparing, getting some expertise, for next season where he'd really jump off the mark. But he's been pushed into that role with the loss of Evan Sorrow, and he's done really well with it.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy, McDonald's All-American, finalist. He almost made it to the big game. And, just super talented coming out of high school, out of Fishers, Indiana, one of the, best high school programs in the state of Indiana. And that's what Travis Steele talked about. I mean, this was one of the best players on one of the best teams in the whole country. This is a team that was ranked top 25 in the country. And, Miami got a chance at him. And all of a sudden, he just came on the scene. I don't think Travis Steele and the coaching staff is shocked, but, I mean, we are definitely shocked considering he was redshirted a first 11 games of the season or so. So unbelievable stuff. What about Trey Perry, though? If we're talking freshman, he has been a little up and down, a little bit of a different story than Justin Kirby, the guy from Cincinnati Lakota East High School just down the road in Cincinnati. He was one of the best players in the entire state of Ohio from the class of 2025, one of the best point guards in Ohio as well. A lot of high expectations for him. Only 2 points, 1 assist, and 1 rebound, but I feel like his minutes are louder than what the stats always say for him. He gives a lot of great energy off the bench, and I feel like one place where he struggled that I didn't expect, that I've known Trey for a while now. I've known his game. He always was able to knock down the tough shots. He hasn't really played that style. He's more of came out off the bench and just tried to bring his energy defensively first. He talked about that in some post games earlier in the season, just trying to get on the court by bringing energy and great defense, and he's done that. That's what I mean by saying 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, but it was louder than that. What do you think about Trey Perry?
I mean, another freshman has made a great impact on this team. He certainly has in the non-conference games, the later part of the non-conference games. He was getting more game time. I think actually the change, losing Ipsaro, as odd as it may sound, losing a guard meant a guard like Perry played less. I think that his style of play, the way he moves without the ball, especially the way he moves without the ball, fits a floor director like Ipsaro better than it does Skaljack. So I think that combination of Skaljack and Kirby is what Coach Steele has been leaning on more rather than Skaljack and Perry, because I think Skaljack, even just from watching it, seeing how many minutes they get, but also just seeing how they move without the ball, considering Skaljack or Ipsaro was the point guard, the starting full-time point guard. Skaljack and Kirby just ended up being a better pair than Skaljack and Perry, but Perry still just come in, get solid minutes off the bench, got 8 minutes in that game against Marshall, and he brings a lot of energy. Well, it might not translate to stat sheets. Basketball isn't played on stat sheets, it's played on hardwood floors, and it's watched with our eyes, and that's what's really important. He's a guy you need to watch with your eyes. You can't just understand his impact from looking at the stat sheet, because you're really not going to understand it as much as you could be. Going into some stat leaders, speaking of stats, we are going to talk about some stats now. Going into stat leaders for both teams. Miami, the points leaders, Brant Byers with 14.8, Peter Suter with 14 points. Iowa State didn't work as well for him, now finds his way to Athens, where he is loving life, enjoying 16.6 points per game. After him, it's Aiden Hadaway with 14.2, and then Javen Simmons with 14. And even looking at those three numbers, on average, that's putting up 44 points per game between those three players, whereas Miami's top three only putting up 39. And yet Miami is averaging 15 more points per game than Ohio. That just tells you the bench depth. It really is impressive just how deep Miami is. They've got so many guys that can just go out there and get a bucket. And I'm not saying Ohio doesn't, but you can just tell from the volume of scoring, it's much more concentrated for Ohio than it is for Miami.
Yeah, and this place getting loud. It looks like we've got some things going on. Players about to come out. 10 minutes and 30 seconds away from opening tip-off here inside Millett Hall, Jake. I mean, I have chills down my spine because the first time I walked into this building as a student here was over a year ago. I called a game, and there was no one in there. You could hear the echoes inside of Millett Hall, and now we sit here, and this place is full. We literally got sent up into the sky deck where we usually do double headers because of how busy and how many media people want to get on the floor and get court access. So we're up here tonight. I'm not even going to complain because of how cool of an environment this really is, and yeah, truly a blessing for myself, you, and the rest of the RedHawk Radio guys. I mean, we could write a story about how cool this season's been, and I think that's the best part about sports. Getting off topic for a second, but this is the coolest thing about sports is the things that come as team, like us and all these other reporters, and then the students. I mean, we have a full student section that is striped out in white and red overalls, and the rest of all of Millett Hall all in white for the most part. The only red that I see are the seats, and it's just unbelievable what's going on inside of this building and inside of this university right now. The buzz is real, and the number 23 ranked RedHawks are the biggest story in college basketball, and ranked RedHawks are the biggest story in college basketball, and wow, that's all I can really describe it with is the word wow.
It really is. I mean, coming from the East Coast, Miami basketball is certainly not big in West Hartford, Connecticut, but even just earlier this year, doing the trip has been fun to watch this school blossom, even just over my 5 months being a student here. This is a sports school now. It really always has been, and it's been a sleeping giant of the Midwest. It's back now. Football is doing well in the portal. Basketball, men's and women's, are both doing great. Odds are to make the tournament. Hockey's doing well. Actually, they just had the game against North Dakota going on the Jumbotron. I think that one just ended, though. Baseball and softball are both good. This is a sports school now, folks. There's no denying that. Getting back to our stats, sort of got off topic there. Sorry, folks, but we got to give you some context as well. Your rebound leaders for the RedHawks, it's Elmer with 6, Wolfhook with 5.5, and Suter with 4.6. For Ohio, it's Aiden Hadaway, 7.5, Javen Simmons, 5.4, and Elijah Elliott, the sophomore guard from Orlando, Florida, averaging 3.5 rebounds per game. In the assist game, Luke Skaljak, of course, the leader with 4.6. After him, it's Peter Suter, 4.3, and Antoine Wolfhook with a cheeky 1.7 as well. For the Bobcats, Pavletsky, again, the leader with 5.3 dishes per game. Aiden Hadaway with 2.2, and Elijah Elliott with 2. Some roster breakdown now. Miami, the big vets are, of course, Peter Suter, his second season with the program, coming in from Bellarmine 2 years ago. Wolfhook, the same thing 2 years ago, coming in from Rutgers, and Ian Elmer in his junior season. Apsara will be up there too. Evan Apsara would be. For the Bobcats, the big veterans are A.J. Sheldon and Aiden Hadaway, both seniors for this Ohio squad. Played all the years college basketball in green and white. For Ohio, the transfers are numerous. Dior Connors, the senior guard from Columbus, Ohio, coming in from Appalachian State, played 10 minutes in their last game against Old Dominion. Jackson Pavletsky, as I said, the double transfer, the senior, originally at Wofford, then going to the Cyclones of Iowa State. Javen Simmons, the junior forward, coming in from Toledo at the start of this year. He's enjoying, of course, a great campaign. And then Jalen Breath, the senior forward from Tulsa, Oklahoma, 6'8", 225, so a big physical prospect for them. Had 11 points against Old Dominion on 71.4% shooting. He coming in from the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. All right, we're getting to about 6 minutes to tip off. Gavin, give me a player to watch for either of the two teams.
Yeah, we talked about him a lot. Aiden Hadaway is the player I'm going to watch if you're looking at the team in green. For the Bobcats, it's got to be Aiden Hadaway. I feel like, he's making his 66th career start all here at Ohio. He understands this rivalry, and he gets a chance alongside this Bobcat team to come into a hostile environment, your rivals on a Friday night on national television, and pull off the biggest upset of the season. I mean, you got to expect a guy like Aiden Hadaway to come out and really, play his best basketball. But on the other side of things, there's a guy who continues to show up in big moments for the Red Hawk team that loves the big moments. His name's Peter Suter, as the boos come flying in for the Bobcats, who have just entered the floor in the all-green uniforms. But Peter Suter has just been phenomenal for this team these last 2 years, and this year he's really just been a do-it-all Swiss Army knife type of guy. 14.2 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1.3 steals. Last game, 17.7 rebounds and an assist. He can do things in all of the three main categories and statistics in basketball, and I expect a big, big night out of Peter Suter. Could be one of those like Buffalo or last year's Air Force game type of game for Peter Suter. You just really never know.
He certainly is an explosive player, and I agree on the Hadaway pick. As the boys come out now, here they are, led by the Flags, the U.S., then Ohio, then Miami. The boys coming out for a shoot-around with 4 minutes and 17 seconds to go until tip-off. My two players to watch. For the Bobcats, I got to go Jackson Pavletsky if Gavin's going to talk about Aiden Hadaway. Pavletsky, the leading scorer with 16.6 points, 6'2", 175, so a guard of solid size. The big-name transfer from the Cyclones of Iowa State. And I think the impact that he's going to have today, the matchup between him and guys like Peter Suter and Luke Skaljak is going to be very interesting. Yeah. Guessing Skaljak will be face guarding him for most of the night tonight. For Miami, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to take Brant Byers here. He's had a disappointing few games his last few. Only 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists in the Marshall contest on just 33.3% shooting. Still having a very solid season the leading scorer, of course, for the team with 14.8 points. But he's had a few down games this past stretch. I think he looks to bounce back here against an Ohio team who is actually the worst three-point shot defending team in the conference. They yield a 35.8% three-point percentage. I'm sorry, folks. We got a lot going on here. It's kind of hard to focus. Either way, Ohio, the worst three-point defending team in the MAC. So I think Flyers will be able to take advantage of that, explode for 15 plus tonight. Got about 3 minutes to go. Prediction for the game for myself, I think Miami's got this one. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a hard one to win. This isn't going to be a runaway. But I think in the end, they get it done by 12. I'm going to say 92-80 RedHawks.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go around the same as you. 12. I like the 12-point line. I like how you said 92 as well as the RedHawks, averaging 92.7 points per game. I think they hit that mark as well. I'm going to go, I'll go 91 just to not be the exact same as you. I'll go 91 RedHawks. Ohio, ultimately just not enough for this Red Hawk team. 78 points. 91-78 final for me. Can we be right? I don't know. You got any final words before we step off here?
Let's get ready to party like it's 1999, folks. This team is for real, and they're going to show it tonight by taking down the Bobcats. We're going to kick it to Luke West, Poley, and Andrew Relvas for your commentary. We'll see you again at halftime.
Can the RedHawks stay undefeated? Stick around, find out. Thanks for listening to the pregame show here on the Red Hawk Radio Network.
things just keep getting bigger and bigger for the Miami RedHawks men's basketball team, ranked 23rd in the land. And entering the night, Miami continues on an undefeated, magical season. But this game is one that needs no introduction. It is the 217th all-time meeting between the Miami RedHawks and the Ohio Bobcats tonight in the Battle of the Bricks inside Millett Hall. A game that is expected to be, again, close to that Millett attendance record. And what better than a storied rivalry here late on a Friday night. Luke was Poley, Andrew Relvas with you, and Andrew, Miami keeps stacking wins. Fortunately for the RedHawks, starting to do it with a little more comfortability after they caused, I think, a lot of heart palpitations among RedHawk fans for a stretch of about 2 weeks in the middle of MAC play that included a couple of overtime wins against Buffalo and Kent State, and a game that came right down to the wire against against Massachusetts rather. Since then, 2 out of the last 3 for Miami have been won with relative comfort. The RedHawks dispatched of Northern Illinois last time they played in this building, and most recently with one of their most impressive wins in probably about a month as they went to Marshall, one of the strongest teams in the Sun Belt, and they trounced the Thundering Herd last weekend. And again, just another reason for the confidence of this team to grow.
West Virginia, I mean, tough place to play. The RedHawks made it look easy in the first half, and you know, Marshall cut it close a little bit in that second half, but the RedHawks stayed the course, and I mean, that's a good confidence booster, and they're going to need to really rely on this confidence, and the crowd is definitely going to be a factor in this game, but this group is going to have their heads held high if they want to win this one against a scrappy OU team who struggled at the start of the season, but has really kind of started off strong at the about halfway portion of the season.
Yeah, Ohio coming in 13-12 overall, 7-5 in Mid-American Conference play. And like you said, they struggled, had some head-scratching losses earlier this year, included losses to teams like Bethune-Cookman in non-conference. They had a couple of wins that looked at the beginning of the year like they may be impressive against the likes of Illinois State and St. Bonaventure, that over time likely regressed a little bit, and as you said, kind of face-planted at a point when they lost 4 out of 5 games in MAC play to Toledo, Ball State, Akron, and Kent State. But since then, Ohio's rebounded a little bit. They've gotten a little bit healthier, and Jeff Boals has been at this a while. This is an Ohio team that's as storied as any in the Mid-American Conference. They expect to be near the top of the MAC every single year, and Ohio is certainly a team that is hungry to come in and end their arch rivals' undefeated season hopes here tonight. Again, this rivalry has so much history. These teams have met over 200 times. Last year, they split the 2 meetings, and no surprise, with as good as these home environments are, that the team hosting won both meetings last season. For Ohio, they bowed out to Toledo in the first round of the Mid-American Conference Tournament. It's a team, though, that traditionally haven't been able to keep down for very long. They have not had back-to-back seasons at 500 or below under Jeff Boals. They are currently right along that cut line after a 500 season last year, again entering at 13-12. First meeting of 2 this season between Miami and Ohio, and we're so glad you're with us for it. First time a MAC conference game is on ESPN 1, the real one, since 1998. And again, just records continue to fall for both the Miami RedHawks and the Mid-American Conference as a whole with what this RedHawks team does this year. For Miami and the starting 5, no surprises here. Ian Elmer, Luke Skaljak, Peter Suter, Antoine Woolfolk, Brant Byers, the 5 for Travis Steele's group. For the Ohio Bobcats, they have a few times made tweaks to their starting lineup, mostly due to a bump and a bruise here and there, but it stayed largely the same. And Jeff Boals tonight rolls out a 5 of A.J. Sheldon, Javen Simmons, J.J. Kelly, Aiden Hadaway, and Jackson Pavletsky. And a couple of coaches that are proven at this level. Miami, a MAC finalist a season ago. For Jeff Boals and the Ohio Bobcats, they won the MAC title back in 2021, upset UVA in the NCAA tournament with a team led by Jason Preston that year, who played in the NBA and made the NCAA tournament's round of 32. This place is ready to rock and roll. We are all set to get you started here from Millett Hall tonight. Ohio is in the green uniforms with white numbers and text along the back. and block Ohio across the front. Miami is in the traditional homes with the white uniforms, red script Miami across the front of the jersey, and red numbers along the front and the back. Steve McJunkins is our referee, same referee as the MAC Championship crew from last year. Jeff Vasicki and Josh White are our two umpires, and we are all set to bring you this one here from Millett Hall. It's Javen Simmons against Antoine Woolfolk on the tip-off. Ball put up in the air, scooped back by Simmons, and we are underway. Brought into the front court by Jackson Pawelecki for Ohio. He bounces off for Aiden Hadaway, and now on the left wing, it's A.J. Sheldon. Sheldon, the Ohio native, puts it short corner left for Simmons. He's trapped, gets out of it. Along the near side, he throws it up towards half court where Suter deflects it away and into the courtside seats. It stays with the Bobcats with 13 seconds remaining on the shot clock and 19:41 on the game clock for a near side inbound to be taken by A.J. Sheldon.
Yeah, great job to force the out-of-bounds deflection, and the RedHawks swarm early. Expect that often.
Pawelecki between the legs on the dribble, bumps down the right lane, feeds it out, and a drive towards the nail. Jumper falls from there for J.J. Kelly. True freshman, one of two Chambersburg, Pennsylvania natives we'll see here in this game. The other, Miami's Brant Byers, as the RedHawks take it from left to right. 2-0 Ohio. Elmer wide open underneath off a cut, and Byers finds him for an easy lay-in to even the game. 2-2 at the 52nd mark. Pawelecki backs it out to the logo, now races in on Suter, spins to the right side of the lane, bumps in, throws his head back, ball loose on the floor, regathered by Pawelecki, leans through, lays it up, it doesn't go, but it's put back in. Off the rebounding presence on the glass from Javen Simmons, the Toledo transfer. Ohio back in front at 4-2. We've crossed 1 minute gone by. Skaljack from out top comes off a screen right, set by Woolfolk to the corner. Elmer, 3 up, 3 down. Ian Elmer splashes the tray for Miami, and the RedHawks lead for the first time at 5-4. Pawelecki picked up his dribble at the top of the key, feeds Shelton on the right side. Now back to the near wing, it's Hadaway. Pump fakes, drives in on Byers, shoulders in on him. Back outside, it's Javen Simmons. He holds off, straddling the three-point line. Pulls the ball overhead, bounces it for Pawelecki. Backs away, short corner left, fades away and scores in the face of Antoine Woolfolk. 6-5 Bobcats at the minute 45 mark.
That's where Pawelecki makes his bread and butter.
But a quick move the other way. Antoine Woolfolk wriggles free, and Skaljack finds him underneath the basket for another easy deuce for the RedHawks. 7-6 Miami. And so far, it's been Woolfolk and Elmer that have provided the RedHawk points. We've crossed the 2-minute mark. Catch on the left elbow for Hadaway. Looks for an option, drives in on Skaljack. That's an offensive foul. Skaljack goes down, shoulder splits the 3 on the jersey by Aiden Hadaway. And Luke Skaljack just seems to have more and more Evan Ipsaro in his game as he takes the place of Miami's starting point guard from the beginning of the year. He takes the charge. RedHawks in business going from left to right.
And he is so scrappy. He can do it both ways, offensively and defensively. And drawing the foul there, great trendsetter for the RedHawks.
7-6 Miami, 17:36 to go first half. Skaljack slashes across the paint, stops on the block, try to throw it back outside for Suter. His pass intercepted by J.J. Kelly. He runs it into the front court, now slows it down on the left wing, picks up his dribble, pivots around, and gives it up top for A.J. Sheldon. Faked an NBA level 3, wants help up top. Gets it by way of Hadaway, who controls top of the key, and now it's Pawelecki on the right side. Pawelecki between the legs on the dribble, face guarded by Elmer. Accelerates, pulls back, fades away from the free throw line. It rattles out, and a one-handed rebound gathered by Pete Suter as Miami blazes up the right side of the floor. Shot fake, Byers bowls into the paint, goes up high through contact. He left it short of the rim. And Ohio's got the rebound, and Simmons goes straight line drive down the left side. Had it poked free under the basket by Suter, but regathers, goes back up top amongst the trees, and he gets fouled. Miami fans don't like it, and some extracurricular bumping and jawing underneath the bucket, but that sends Javen Simmons to the free throw line.
Yeah, and really physical front court for the Ohio Bobcats with Hadaway and Simmons, and we see it there. Simmons, experienced player coming over from Toledo, and he's at the line for the first time today.
Simmons spent 3 seasons with the Rockets, puts up the first free throw and knocks it down. He's around 68% on the year. Top 20 in the MAC in field goal percentage, points, rebounds, just outside the top 20 in block shots. He was all MAC last year, and a head-turning in-conference transfer when he announced he'd be departing one of the premier programs of this league and ends up joining the squad that Toledo bounced Ended the Bobcats season last year. He misses the second free throw long. Game level at 7 as Suter goes from left to right, and he traveled on the way in. Simmons pulled the chair out under him as Suter approached the lane. And it's back to a Bobcat basketball after Miami's second turnover with 16:42 remaining in the opening half and a game tied at 7. Paveletzky takes it from right to left into the front court, gets around a scrum on the right side and feeds back for Simmons up top. Now again, it's Paveletzky. He runs into a wall and Atlason on the left side, feeds it all the way across the court. Kelly tosses up a 3. That's off the heel, and it's slapped out by Simmons, looking for somebody on the perimeter. Nobody's there. It ends up in the Miami bench. And the RedHawks have the basketball.
Yeah, and Kelly, a guy you don't want to leave open too much. 14th in the MAC in field goal percentage. Had a pretty open look, but a nice closeout by Elmer to give the ball right back to the RedHawks.
These teams are relatively similar in terms of their construction. One area, though, that Ohio just has not been good at this year is the three-point line on both ends. They're not good at defending it. They have not hit their threes this year, near the bottom of the MAC in both categories. Approaching the 4-minute mark, Miami has it on the offensive end. Skaljack top of the key, steps back, left-handed 3, bullseye! Luke Skaljack gets on the board for Miami after a couple of assists to start. And the RedHawks are in front 10-7 as we pass the 4-minute mark. Kelly on the left wing. Fakes the pass to the corner on the near side. Now gives to the corner on the far side. It's Paveletzky. Jabs twice. Tosses up in Suter's face and knocks it down. Oh, he was tarped. Hand right between the eyes there from Pete Suter, but Paveletzky nails it in his face. Meanwhile, Skaljack races by everybody and lays it in down the left side. 12-10 RedHawks, 15:31 to go. Now Paveletzky goes quick. He gives into the corner for Kelly, who thought about the drive and now pulls it back out near half court. Handoff for Sheldon. Quick hand and toss-up 3. That's well too strong. And the rebound hauled down by Miami's Brant Byers. Suter across the timeline on the left wing. Gives Byers deep 3. Oh, yeah! From the corner of the M for Brant Byers. He had about 6 feet of separation from the three-point line, and Miami's feeling it early on. They've made all 3 of their tries from beyond the arc. They lead it by 5 minutes in. Paveletzky stumbles into the lane, picks up his dribble, ball stripped, loose on the floor, out of bounds to Miami as it rolls to the near courtside seats, and it's RedHawk ball when we come back from our first timeout. Spirited opening 5 minutes and change inside Millett Hall. These teams both shooting the ball well, but it's Miami with the advantage at our first break. 14:54 remaining in the first half with the score. Miami 15 and Ohio 10. You're listening to the Battle of the Bricks in Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. 5:06 gone by, opening half. The score, Miami 15 and Ohio 10 in the Battle of the Bricks. Alongside Andrew Relvas, I'm Luke West Poley. And so far, Andrew, Miami lights out, 6 for 7 from the field. They've hit all 3 of their 3-point shots and just kind of feeding off the energy in this building, it feels like.
Yeah, using this crowd to their advantage. And in past games, we've seen the RedHawks struggle from deep to start out, but a perfect start and keep that pedal to the metal.
Miami was great shooting the 3-ball against Marshall. Last time out in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge, RedHawks were 8 of 18 for the game, much of that coming early on. Skaljak, meanwhile, tries a 3 on cue, but he misses it from the top of the key, and we've got a foul going for the rebound against Justin Kirby, who's just checked into the game for Miami. So he picks up his first. That is the second foul against Miami as a team. And Ohio takes it from right to left as we cross the 5.5-minute mark. One of the other freshmen in the rotation for Miami, Trey Perry, into the game as well, taking the place of Luke Skaljak. Drive to the inside and a hook over the top from 10 feet. Flies far for Hadaway. And Elmer's got the rebound for Miami. Barreling ahead on the right side, he stops, and now it's Perry on the left wing. Perry dribbles once, picks it up, finds Elmer up top. Now he slings it for Elmar Atlason, who cuts across the facing of the 3-point line. Near wing Kirby, shoulders in, gets to the hashes, spins, hangs up, off the glass, well too strong. And Jalen Breath soars in to snare the rebound for the Bobcats. Jackson Pavletsky points with his left hand. He tosses there, and Sheldon puts up a way off-balance 3 that's not even close. Comes up way short. Jeff Bowles wanted a foul. Meanwhile, Byers makes his way into the lane. He draws the foul on a bit of an out-of-control drive. The shot flies way over top the basket. And Byers goes tumbling into the photographers, but he's headed to the free throw line to try and expand on this Miami lead at 15-10 with 13:37 remaining in the first half.
Yeah, just good execution there from Byers. Took advantage of a wide open freeway lane and gets rewarded with some free throws.
Brad Byers headed to the free throw line, coming off a season-low 4 points. He was just 1 of 5 from the field. Puts up the first and rattles it in. This has been a major point of issue for Byers and the RedHawks as a whole. The free throw line lately. Byers still top 20 in the conference in free throw shooting. But that game against Marshall snapped a 7-game streak in double figures for the redshirt sophomore Byers, defending MAC Freshman of the Year. And puts up the second one, and that is short. He was the SportsCenter guest yesterday representing Miami basketball to plug this game. Goes 1 out of 2 at the line, makes it a 6-point Miami lead as Ohio takes it into the front court. And as they do, we've got an off-ball foul against the Bobcats, and they give it away for the 3rd time. They get J.J. Kelly for an entanglement off the ball. And it is RedHawk basketball inbounding from the first M in Miami on their defensive baseline. Atlason inserts for Suter. A little bit of pressure picked up by the Bobcats as Suter dribbles it forward, stops just shy of half court, now accelerates and bullies his way across the timeline. Atlason holds near corner of the M, and he finds Antoine Woolfolk up top, who got reached in on and fouled by Aiden Hadaway. And Jeff Bowles is pacing with some very serious weight under his shoes on the Ohio sideline. Not happy early on as his team has picked up 4 fouls so far. 6:45 gone by in the opening half with the RedHawks leading at 16-10. Perry catches the inbound. RedHawks go around the horn of the near corner. Suter extra to the wing for Kirby, and he misses the 3 from the elbow extended. But on the rebound, it was initially grabbed by Kuwani, but he got fouled. He stepped on the baseline when he came back down with the rebound, rather, and that's because he was given a shove. And that foul goes against Antoine Woolfolk of Miami, and that gives possession to the Bobcats. Under 13 minutes to go, first half. Pavletsky brings it up, formerly with Iowa State in a past life, and out to the near side, a 3 up, and a 3 rattles in for Dior Connors from the left elbow extended. One of just 3 transfers added this year. He came from Appalachian State. He's got the Bobbies within 3. Kirby puts his foot on the gas pedal and now swerves back to the outside. He finds Pete Suter high right. Suter makes his way to the key, dribbles between his legs, steps inside the arc, pulls the trigger on a long 2. off the rim and high, no good, and it's out of bounds to Ohio on the rebound. And both benches fly to their feet, one in protest and one to celebrate some rebounding effort, but Miami will not challenge this.
Yeah, just kind of a tough look from our vantage point. There were 2 Bobcats in the area, but they say it's off of Miami, so it's back to the Bobbies.
16-13 Miami, 12-14 to go, opening half. The Aussie, Kuwani controls from the left angle. Now back up top, it's Paveletzky, shoulder to shoulder with Suter. Heads to the right, goes behind the back on his dribble, lost the basketball for a moment, picks it back up, gives to the near side. Connors catch and shoot 3, swirls the iron, and the rebound pulled out by Almar Atlason in Miami. And Suter brings it down the left wing into the front court. Cuts diagonally to the key. Finds Atlason on the left wing. Eyed the rim. Now goes back down for Suter left. Block, shoulders in. Hooks over the top and swishes. Working against J.J. Kelly there. Kelly a little bit of a size advantage, but Suter connects on his first basket of the night. And it's 18-13 Miami with 11 and a half to go in the first half. From the second hash in the right alley, Connors prods it back outside for Paveletzky, who cuts across the key. Got bumped and fouled by Almar Atlason. And that brings us to a stoppage and timeout on the floor for the under 12. Miami continuing to keep Ohio at arm's length. Bobcats briefly led, but it's been Miami with the advantage ever since. Right now, the RedHawks lead it by a score of 18-13. 11:25 remaining in our first half, and we'll return to Millett Hall after the break. You're listening to the Battle of the Bricks and Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. Reminder coming up at the half. Gavin Stark, Jake Zirolli have your Red Hawk Radio halftime update. Some stats analysis from the first half. A look around the nation in college basketball and the preview of the second coming up. 11:25 remaining first half. Miami's led by a couple of possessions for most of this game. Right now they lead at 18-13. Bobcat basketball in the front court, inbounding from far side to near side. Jesse Burris, the redshirt freshman, into the game for the Bobcats, and he puts it in for Jackson Paveletzky. Now just inside the arc on the right wing, Javen Simmons works his way to the inside. He draws the foul off the bump by Elmer, but tossed his shot off the backside of the rim. Simmons, though, headed to the free throw line for the second time in this game.
They're going to actually ding Woolfolk for the foul, so that's 2 on Woolfolk, and for Ohio, 2 on Hadaway as well, so those kind of cancel each other out.
Something to keep an eye on for the RedHawks is Woolfolk, again, last year had a tendency to get into foul trouble, and this year he's cleaned that up in a major way, and that's been a really nice added bonus for him. Simmons at the free throw line, perfect on the first shot. And a redshirt junior spent 3 years at Toledo. He led the MAC in offensive rebounding last season. This is an Ohio team that on paper has some really good rebounders, but have not really shown it in conference games this year. They sit near the bottom of the league in offensive rebounding as Simmons puts in the second free throw. And a lot of their rebounding comes from their top 2 rebounders, really, and have not gotten a ton of contributions elsewhere. They cut it, though, back down to 3. Right now, even on the glass with Miami. Elmer catches and rises for 3 on the far side, but he missed it a little bit short. And the weak side rebound is grabbed by Dior Connors for the Bobcats. Shimmy shake, top of the key tray. Off the back iron, rebound loose on the floor at the MAC logo. Skaljak ends up with it. Lead pass down the right wing for Byers, who slows down in the front court. Skaljak now inserts into the post for Tyler Robbins. He hangs up and can't score, and on the rebound, he's got 4 green jerseys around him who come down on top of him and foul him. He threw his shot off the bottom of the backboard on the putback, but Tyler Robbins, who's just checked into the game for Miami, is headed to the free throw line.
Yeah, and these are some big minutes for a freshman who kind of checked out of the rotation a little bit, but a nice little move inside, and he'll get some free throws here.
It's been a month since his last field goal. As Robbins is at the line, tosses up the first and knocks it down. The Pittsburgh native, not too far from Ohio University's campus, who, like you said, has seen his minutes dwindle a little bit after he was a healthy part of the rotation during the non-conference slate. Second one arcs up and falls off the left side of the rim. And the Bobcats have the board. Lead up to 2 possessions, but at 4 points for Miami at 19-15. 10:35 to go in the first half. Short corner right, Simmons holding. He's got bright pink shoes. Draws the double from Skaljak, works against him, rips the ball through, lost it on the floor, scoops it back up, circles the paint now from the left side, lays it up and rattles it in. And now Simmons tries to touch it on Miami's inbound while he was still out of bounds. His momentum carried him out, and that's a technical foul. He laid it up and in, caught contact. I think Ohio wanted a foul there for an and one, but Simmons kind of went tumbling to the ground along the baseline, got up when he was out of bounds, and then as Miami was trying to reinsert the basketball following that made basket, he just reached in and slapped the arm of Brant Byers, and the officials were immediately on it. Now they're meeting in front of the Miami bench. Both coaches have called their teams over to their benches, and I think they might take a look at this.
Yeah, that's one of the big red flags as a player you cannot do. You can't do in this situation, 2-point game, and some words may have been exchanged before that, but yeah, that's inexcusable, and we'll see how long this takes to review.
It's actually not a review after all, like we had initially thought. They were going over to the scorer's table, but that was to just explain the situation. That's the 6th foul as a team, first foul on Javen Simmons. And so Miami will get the free throw here. I believe this is just 1 free throw here for the RedHawks.
Yep.
And then they will get the ball after the fact. Brant Byers is set to take it for Miami. He was the inbounder. Rather, he will shoot 2, it appears. Byers tosses up the first and gets an unfriendly roll after leaving it a little bit short. He does get 2 shots. Initial indication was 1 finger in the air for the referee, and then they went over to the line and called it 2. Second one up for Byers. He knocks that one down, so Miami at least gets something out of the deal. And for the Bobcats, looks like Simmons got everything hashed out with the referees. He's flashed a thumbs up to both of them. Immediately there were a swarm of teammates over to calm him down after that situation. Just not something you see unfold very often. RedHawks now inbound from their defensive baseline. Bobcats pick up pressure in 3/4 court. Elmer goes laterally with a pass across the timeline on the right wing for Skaljak, who calls for a screen, just goes right through it. Feeds for Byers underneath the baseline. Tossed up a shot through contact, didn't get it, got his own rebound, and he's fouled as he got back on the ground. See if they call this on the floor. I think they did. Bobcat bench is furious. Looks like they got Simmons again, so that's his 2nd foul. And a referee pointed to the baseline initially, but now it looks like it is a shooting foul on that kind of haphazard putback attempt by Brant Byers, so he's got a couple more free throws coming his way.
They actually call it on Burris, so it'll be 1 still for Simmons.
Or actually, it was on the floor, but Miami's in the bonus. So those are 1-and-1 free throws. So that's the deal for Brant Byers. He makes the first, so it doesn't matter. He earns the bonus. Byers waits, puts up the second, and in. So yes, again, like you pointed out, just to reset, foul on Burris, that's his first, and Simmons with just one. Only Bobcat with 2 fouls is Aiden Hadaway. 22-17 Miami lead. We've crossed the halfway point of the opening frame. Connors arcs around the right elbow, gives it back outside with a high ball for Pavletsky, flailing his head back as he drives down the left wing. He lays it up too strong, but he's fouled in the process and heads to the free throw line.
Yeah, that's one of his strengths as a player. He can really burrow his way to the free throw line, and you know, he's so crafty, he's so shifty. That's one of the players that the RedHawks are going to have to keep their heads on a swivel all night long.
Jackson Pavletsky to the free throw line, coming off his worst shooting game of the season. He puts up the first free throw and he missed it. Rare one for Ohio's best free throw shooter in Pavletsky. Had just 7 points for the Bobcats in a loss against Old Dominion in the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. Pavletsky, all MAC last season. He shot more than 20 free throws in a game this year, though, so certainly a guy that's familiar with getting to the line and makes it a 1-for-2 trip, cashing the second. 9:48 remaining first half with the score Miami 22 and Ohio 18. And again, the Bobcats bring their pressure up to the free throw line, which Miami easily breaks via Luke Skaljak's pass through the halfway stripe. Now it's Suter around a screen right, finds Robbins, who gives a bullet pass down low for Byers. Miami whips it back around the arc. Suter right wing three, can't hit it. Rebound fell down on the MAC logo, was loose for a moment. Jesse Burris hauls it out and gives a long pass ahead for the Bobcats for Kelly. He threads it through, and Kuwani drives down the right side and forces it in. Bobcats within 2 here at 22-20 with 9:15 to play in the first half.
Yeah, despite a RedHawks start, the RedHawks are 1 for 9 on their last offensive trips.
That was after Miami was screaming hot, especially from 3. Now Elmer just takes a contested mid-range look. He doesn't get it, but amongst a flurry of defenders, Suter hangs up to get the offensive rebound, and he puts it back in. 24-20 Miami with 8:50 to go in the first half. Simmons outside. Now for the Bobcats, it is J.J. Kelly who backs it out left. Slings it for Simmons up top. Takes the handoff for A.J. Sheldon, now does hand it off for Jesse Burris. Suter pokes it away, then got tripped up by Burris, who was diving on the floor going for the ball. And I think they call that out of bounds to Miami. And that's what it looks like. So no foul there, but it is RedHawk basketball with 8:33 remaining in the first half. Miami leading by 4, and Suter set to be the inbounder just shy of half court.
You got to give Suter so much praise defensively. He can just absolutely hunt offensive players, and the RedHawks get rewarded with a Bobcat turnover.
Both teams have taken care of it. That's just the 4th turnover for Ohio. Handoff for Skaljak up top. Looked at the rim, now drives in, pulls up for the right elbow, halfway down. Rebound falls out to Burris on the wing, and he picks it up, and the Bobcats head forward, but just miscommunicated as Sheldon tried to hit Kelly on the cut. Passed it one way, Kelly cut the other towards the basket. And it dribbles out of bounds and back to the RedHawks.
It's back-to-back turnovers. RedHawks only up by 4, still 2 for 11 in their last while of field goals. They really got to get this offense going.
Came after Miami started 7 for 8 from the field, including 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. 8:03 remaining in the first half. Miami's got it on the offensive end. Atlason has it punched out. He recovers the ball just shy of half court. Now it's Skaljak on the logo for Suter straight away. Suter steps inside the arc, pulls up on a long 2, and bangs it. Pete Suter's bag right in that spot. Only a couple feet inside the arc, but he'll take the points. He's got 6, and that's Miami's lead with 7:39 to play in the first. Hadaway backing in on Byers' right side. One-hand pass back out for Sheldon. Burrows his way through. Kick out, 3 from the corner. Missed everything for Hadaway, but it's put back in by J.J. Kelly. Just a tough one there for Miami. An airballed 3 from the corner falls right into the arms of Kelly. And that's an easy one for him to get the Bobcats within 2. Elmer open from the left side, now takes it in past jumping defenders. Diagonal cut to the rim, and he finger rolls it home. And this Miami crowd is giving it to Aiden Hadaway as he brings it into the front court. Steps inside the arc, goes airborne, turned it over, threw it right to Ian Elmer. The former Taft football star with the intercept. Elmer goes coast to coast, stops his feet just shy of the restricted area. Back out Suter, left wing, Skaljack. Cuts it across, tried to find Byers underneath, but it's off his fingertips and out of bounds. And Miami coughs it up, and that brings us to another timeout on the floor. This has been fun. The pace is high. That's how both of these teams like it. Miami continues to lead by 2 possessions with 6:46 to go in the first half. 28-22, Miami in front. You're listening to the Battle of the Bricks in Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. .646 remaining, opening half with the score Miami 28 and Ohio 22 in the 217th meeting between Buckeye State rivals. The Battle of the Bricks here inside Millett Hall. And we are glad that you're with us for it. Ohio brings it across the timeline and into the front court. It's Jackson Pavletsky coming out of the timeout. Now J.J. Kelly bounces it short corner right for Hadaway. Climbs up the baseline, rises through the traffic. He scores. He gets the contact and foul. Travis Steele wants to travel and is stomping his feet on the Miami sideline and giving his sort of rendition of how he thinks that went down. But Aiden Hadaway has earned an and one and a trip to the free throw line for the Bobcats.
And Coach Steele said it himself. Hadaway is a mismatch, 6'8", and he makes a big man play inside.
Tosses up the free throw, left it way short. Woolfolk's got the rebound, and Miami's left Ohio's leading scorer have just 2 points so far. And the RedHawks lead it by 4 with 6.5 to go. Off the handoff up top. Skaljack had it poked free by Sheldon, but he recovers it, gathering off the hardwood. Now it's Elmer at the logo. Dribbling with his left, signaling with his right to get folks inside. Finds Woolfolk on the give and go. Back to Elmer on the drive. He lays it in. And Miami's lead's restored to 6 with 6:04 to go in the first half. 30-24 RedHawks. Ian Elmer's got 9. Antoine Woolfolk picks up his first helper. Paveletzky high left. Dribbling, shoulder high with his right hand. Shimmies, works his way to the elbow, spins to the MAC logo, bumping on Elmer, fades away, and swishes with a smooth jump shot. Jackson Paveletzky up to 8 points, leading the Bobcats in scoring. Miami by 4. Byers with a full head of steam from downhill. Tried to give a cross from block to block for Woolfolk. It's tapped out of bounds, but last touched by Ohio. And so Miami keeps possession here with 9 seconds gone on the shot clock. Bobcats making a lot of subs, and we may have a challenge here.
Yeah, sure looks like it. We've seen that pass a couple of times tonight for the RedHawks where they try to thread the needle, and all 3 refs are at the scorer's table, so we'll wait and see on this one. Miami only 3 turnovers tonight to Ohio 6, so they've taken care of the ball nicely in the friendly confines of Millett Hall.
So, all the officials going to the monitor. And we are not down on the court tonight. We are up top. That means there's a lot of folks covering Miami basketball, which of course is a very, very good thing. Miami ranked 23rd in the land this week. But that does mean you'll have to bear with us a little bit. We can barely hear the public address, which is also a good thing because that means there's a lot of people in here. And so I'm not entirely sure if this was initiated by the referees or if this was an Ohio challenge. I think that the Bobcats did challenge this. Referees going to the monitor. Again, it was a downhill drive in the left lane for Brant Byers. He stopped his feet on the block and tried to just go laterally to Antoine Woolfolk, and it deflected out of bounds, and they've overturned the call. So, referee is pointing over at the Ohio bench. If we do our best kind of guessing based off signals, call that a successful Ohio challenge. And so it's Bobcat basketball going from right to left with 5:30 to play in the opening half. OU trailing by 4. Paveletzky off the handoff on the left angle, dribbling with his right hand, picks it up. He's got Kirby all over him in his face. Releases up top for Hadaway. Circles the arc, steps into it on the right side, backing in on Byers. From the second hash, backs in further. Step over, hooks it over Byers, and it rolls off the left side of the rim. Byers goes down hard meanwhile as Woolfolk grabs the rebound. Byers a little gimpy as he limps his way up the floor. But Suter has it for Miami now on the offensive end. Suter accelerates, hands off Kirby, right wing, 3 put up, 3 off the inside of the rim, but doesn't fall. And Paveletzky's got it now for the Bobcats as he's holding on straight away, working in on Suter, gives him a shoulder, gives it outside. Hadaway Trey off the rim, but Woolfolk called for the foul on the rebound. He had a free arm that he got the ball with, and they called him for a foul with the other arm, and that is Woolfolk's 3rd foul. And he immediately knew. He took about a half second to protest to the referee and then sprinted directly to a spot on the bench because he knew that he had to come off. Almar Atlason comes in for him with 4:41 to play first half. That could be a major blow to Miami's rim protection as Javen Simmons now set to shoot the 1-and-1 for Ohio, and he misses the front end, and now a foul going the other way on the rebound. Hadaway was working 1 against 2 and tangled up with Suter and Almar Atlason and fouled one of them. And so they will walk the floor here and give Miami some free throws. Hadaway pleading with the officials. Again, you mentioned it, just such a difficult guy to guard. It 6th in the MAC in rebounding, and Miami's clearly giving him a lot of attention, but he blocks shots, he passes the ball. He hit 4 threes against Miami last year. Really a guy that can do it all, but he picks up the foul there. It sends Almar Atlason to the free throw line, and he is perfect on the first. Atlason is Miami's best free throw shooter. Miami's two best free throw shooters, oddly enough, are not guards either. Elmar Atlason and Ian Elmer are the two best for the RedHawks, but Atlason misses the second one long, and Miami's now just 6 for 10 from the free throw line in this game. They lead it by 5, 4:34 to go first half. Pavletsky spinning, fades away on Kirby, and forces it over the front rim and in. Just over the knuckle of the iron there for Pavletsky on the jump shot. Ohio's got it down to 3. Suter drives clean by his man. On the shot fake, he sent Kelly leaping almost into the student section. And that's an easy lay-in for Suter. He's up to 8 points.
And another great thing about his game is his pump fake ability. He sent him all the way to Indiana there.
Simmons on the drive, and he traveled. Not under much pressure there. Simmons just had the ball at the top and was working his way left and took about 2 steps and was called for the travel immediately. That's the 7th turnover on Ohio. And Miami has the ball, leading by 5 as we cross under 4 minutes to go opening half. Suter on the left wing. Head fake, steps in, left elbow fade. Line drives off the front rim. And Kuwani flies up for the rebound for Ohio. Now Pavletsky works his way into the lane. Gives out. Kuwani near corner 3. Misses everything strong. And out of bounds off of Miami. And Suter immediately makes a beeline to the referee to say go take a look as they call it Ohio ball. And it looks like upon discussion they've overturned the call, so Miami will not even have to challenge here. Looks like it's RedHawk basketball, but we'll get all that sorted out when we come back from the under 4 timeout. Still a 5-point game. It's been like that throughout. Miami leads Ohio 33-28 inside Millett Hall with 3:42 remaining in the first half. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. You're listening to the Battle of the Bricks, Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. .342 to go first half. Miami 33, Ohio 28. RedHawks take it from left to right. Coming out of the break, it was a clean out of bounds off of Ohio off discussion. Miami did not have to challenge it, so the RedHawks have it on the offensive end. Kirby now controlling from the left wing, bounces to the baseline for Elmar Atlason. The Iceman shoulders into the paint, spins, hangs up, and it goes out of bounds, and No signal. They keep it with Miami. That shot was nowhere close to the backboard for Atlason, and it was tough to see if that was deflected, but the officials say it was, and Ohio seems okay with that on the bench. 11 left on the timer. Skaljak inbounds from the far side baseline, lobs it out for Elmar Atlason, who makes an OBJ-style catch to snare it on the left wing. Shoulders high elbow with 5, now circles to the paint with 4 and lofts it up and in with just seconds remaining on the shot clock to get Miami out to a 7-point lead, their largest of the night, with 3:05 to go in the first half. Paveletzky dribbles it down the left wing, shuffling, overhead pass to Kelly. He catches in the far corner, works his way back up near half court. Now it's A.J. Sheldon. He bounces inside the arc on the wing for Simmons. Works from the elbow, down to the block, goes up over top of 2 defenders, put his shot off strong, and the rebound picked up by Byers and Miami as Suter takes it ahead. Suter fakes the back end, faces up to the basket, races in, stops at the free throw line, and puts it back outside. Now it's Skaljak on the right wing. Pump fakes the pass, works his way to the middle of the paint, finds Byers on the left block, who hangs up to score off the window, plus the harm. Byers just levitated there, and that was incredible vision to force that through by Luke Skaljak. And Brant Byers is headed to the free throw line for the 4th time tonight. He's already taken 6 free shots. Skaljak has been tossing dimes. That was one of the big questions when he was thrust into Miami's starting point guard role. Could he pass like Evan Ipsaro? And he has been brilliant. Byers makes the free throw. Skaljak, top 10 in the MAC in assists. He's 3rd in the MAC in assist to turnover ratio. And that was a heck of a pass by Skaljak to set up Byers, who makes the shot, makes the free throw, and is up to 9 points. Miami's lead is 10. 2:22 to go first half. Paveletzky works his way through traffic, dumps it off on the doorstep for Kawani, who has a wide open lane, a 2-hand slam it. Lead back into single digits for Miami. Skaljak quickly into the front court. Plays patty cake on the right wing with Elmar Atlason. Steps back, now finds Atlason. Contested 3 from the right side goes. And Kawani couldn't believe it. He was right in Atlason's grill, and the big man drills the triple to get Miami's lead to 11. Paveletzky, meanwhile, goes head down into the paint and just flails it up at the rim and in from 10 feet away. 41-32 Miami, under 2 minutes to play first half. Suter short corner right. Half spin towards the baseline, slings out, right wing 3 for Skaljak, spun out, almost went down. Got partway down the rim, but Ohio ends up with the rebound, trailing by 9. 90 seconds to go first half. Paveletzky between the circles. Waves off help, tries the straightaway 3. Missed it off right. Justin Kirby's got the rebound. Miami could get numbers if they hurry, but a good job to disrupt by Kawani. He gets the deflection. Miami's forced to slow down. Skaljak backing in from the left wing. Stops at the left lane line, gives out Suter on the wing, spins past his man, kicks to the near side. Kirby on the catch. He slashes across. Kirby goes up with the left hand and scores. Simmons was on him, the veteran, and Justin Kirby, the true freshman, with a crafty bucket there. His first of the night, and Miami's lead is 43-32 with under a minute to play in the half.
Yeah, Kirby doesn't look like a freshman there. Just a big play to go right at the heart of the OU Bobcats there.
On the right side, Simmons double teamed. Ohio quickly gets rid of it, and now it's Connors on the wing. Bullies in on Suter. No look pass to the far side. Sheldon, quick catch and shoot. He drills it. Miami passes it up the near side. A good job by Pete Suter. He waits to touch it for 5 seconds until the ball comes out near half court to pick it up, and that turns the shot clock off. So Miami can hold for the final shot. They lead at 43-35, 20 seconds to play in the first half. Left heel on the circle for Luke Skaljak. He is just shy of half court. Dior Connors in his face. 8 seconds to go. Skaljak races down the right side, spins into the lane, tosses it up, and rolls off the rim. No good. 2 hands on the ball for Kirby, but he fell down. Ohio ends up with it. Connors with a full court heave at the buzzer, and it's about 15 feet short. So Miami doesn't get it there at the end. Decent look for Luke Skaljak on some ISO ball. But the RedHawks have to be relatively happy with that first half. They led for almost 90% of the opening 20 minutes, and Miami heads into the locker room with a 43-35 lead over Ohio here tonight. So Miami fed off the energy we have seen with some big crowds in this building that Miami's had a tendency to have some slow starts. Good to see kind of the reverse of that here tonight. RedHawks playing from in front for most of this first half, but now this kind of begs the question of, can they play with a lead? That was an issue during non-conference play before they really got into some of those really crazy back-and-forth games. They were in a lot of these situations in non-con and saw the leads quickly vanish out of the locker room.
Yeah, and really, honestly, a good start. 8-point lead for the RedHawks. They are 7 for 11 from the free throw line, so they've been making their money at the line too, and it's just good to see, honestly, Byers and Hadaway match up against each other. Hadaway, 3 fouls on him, something to monitor, but it feels like the RedHawks have really fed off of this crowd energy. They've been rolling, and for Miami, just got to keep the pedal to the metal and keep this up for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, Ohio sits third from the bottom in the MAC in terms of bench points, so getting one of the Bobcats' leaders in scoring and foul trouble could be huge for this Miami team. Hadaway with just 2 points got clamped in that first half. Miami did a really good job on him, and again, he picked up the 3 fouls as well. Brant Byers is the leading scorer in the first half for Miami with 10. Leading scorer for the Bobcats is Jackson Pavletsky. He picked up 12 in the opening half of play. We'll step aside, and when we come back, Jake Zirolli, Gavin Stark have your Red Hawk Radio halftime. Again, your score at the break here inside Millett Hall is Miami 43 and Ohio 35. You're listening to the Battle of the Bricks, Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio.
We rejoin you inside Millett Hall for some halftime coverage in this matchup between the Miami RedHawks and the Ohio Bobcats on Red Hawk Radio. Miami ahead 43-35 at the break. Jake Zirolli back with Gavin Stark for the halftime show. Gavin, in that first half, what would you say is your biggest takeaway for either side?
Well, we talked about it, and it's Antoine Woolfolk, obviously, getting into that foul trouble. We said at the beginning of the show, I mean, if Antoine Woolfolk gets into foul trouble, things will get interesting in this game, and that's exactly what's happened. Woolfolk, 3 first-half fouls, 8-point ball game, and I think that's a huge reason why this Ohio team has found themselves a half into this game and in this game as well as we head into the second half in a tough environment. The physicality of this rivalry and this matchup has really weighed in on this game, and Antoine Woolfolk has been the guy who's taken the fault for 3 fouls in that one. And I mean, that last foul, you could see, the anger come out of him a little bit for a second. A guy who doesn't like to show his temper too much other than just some, little physical stuff every now and then. But Woolfolk kind of went straight to the bench right away instead of, kind of walking and, keeping his chest up. So frustrated. But one thing Travis Steele always talks about when players get into foul trouble, he never wants to foul them out himself. And meaning he doesn't want to keep these guys out for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden they get cold and are not really able to get back into the game fully. So I expect to see Antoine Woolfolk obviously start in the second half and get his normal minutes that he normally would. If he reaches that fourth, though, man, things are going to get interesting quick. You have to expect Ohio to continue to stay physical on everyone in this entire Red Hawk jerseys, but especially Antoine Woolfolk with 3.
Tyler Robbins also got some minutes in that first half. Expect him to get a few more with Woolfolk being in foul trouble there, and that is concerning definitely for this Miami side because he does not only represent most of their physicality, but he's also, as we talked about in pregame, a very complete big man. Only being 6'9", I say only like I'm not 5'8", but either way, he is by the numbers a smaller big man, but he doesn't play like it. He plays real physical, but he's also very calm on the ball. I mean, he's third in the team in assists per game, as well as putting up 10.5 and 5.5 per game. He's a very complete big man, not only on the offensive side, but on the defensive side as well, providing a stalwart presence down low for what is not only a physical but a tall Ohio team, especially in that interior. That interior battle is something that we did talk about a lot in the pregame, and it's been on display here. Rebounds, second chance points have been crucial, and I think they separate these two teams right now. Only being an 8-point game, staying disciplined down there, not giving away stupid fouls such as that technical that Javen Simmons took for trying to swat the ball away from Peter Suter. Not really sure what he was thinking down there, but it's that discipline that a veteran like Woolfolk shows, and having him out or even just sidelined with his foul count would be concerning. Not only that, but just as a leader of this team, a cooling presence.
Yeah, and what about the depth that both of these teams have played to switch things up? I mean, both teams have gone 9 deep, and scoring's been kind of all over the place for both sides. The leading scorer, Pavletsky, with 12 points in that first half. Kind of expected Pavletsky to have a lot on the offensive end, and he's delivered so far. 5 from 8 from the field, 1 for 2 from the three-point line, 2 rebounds and assists to go with it. He played 17 of those 20 minutes. He was phenomenal in that first half. And then on the other side of things, the leading scorer for the RedHawks, Brant Byers, with 10 points, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 1 from the three, and that one that he shot from 3 was from deep, 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 and it brought the house down as well. He has 3 rebounds to go with it as well. That also leading the team alongside Peter Suter, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal as well. Both players playing 18 minutes, a team high and game high. So, I mean, they both teams went 9 deep, kind of expected a little bit, but we didn't even see Tyler Robbins warm up, me and you. I don't know if that's just me and you missing that or what the case was for that, but Robbins did play, and he played some valuable minutes. Only 4 minutes, but it was 4 loud minutes. He got a free throw in, but got to the line because of his physicality, and I liked what I saw from Tyler Robbins because he got an offensive board as well on that possession. I think you're, like you said, expect to see him some more in this second half, especially with Woolfolk in foul trouble. If he picks up that fourth, Tyler Robbins has a big task at hand, and that is to step into a game as a freshman where he hasn't had a ton of consistent minutes and consistent playing time. How can he answer? I mean, he answered in the first 4 minutes that he played of this game, so expecting some things out of Tyler Robbins in the second half. But who are some players for you, Jake, that you'd like to, or you think will step up in the second half and be huge parts for either team?
I think for Miami in general, it's just the shooters. From the three-point line, they actually are 4 of 10 from the three-point line. They heated up towards the end of that second half, but even so, only taking 10 threes and a half. That may sound like a lot for this Miami team there. For a team that lives and dies by the three, only taking 10 and 1/2 is a little bit of a small number. So I'd say in general, the shooters, I'm sure we'll see more from Elmer, as well as Brant Byers, having only taken the 1. As for Ohio, I think it's the guard play. Pavletsky's been playing really, really well, but A.J. Sheldon has had a quiet game, as has J.J. Kelly. Dior Connors and Jesse Burris have also put in some minutes for them. Their forwards are doing all they can, trying to win that low post battle with Woolfolk, Allison, Robbins, even Byers as well. But the guard play is now really has to step up for Ohio. They've got to get more secure in the the backcourt. Jeez, I'm in football mode. I'm in football mode still. Sorry about that, folks. Either way, it's the guard play that's got to get back up, and it's the free throws as well. Ohio's missed a few free throws, as is Miami, but you think it's a little more concerning for the Bobcats, whose free throw percentage is just 69.9%, 10th of 13 in the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think the guard play, obviously, with Pavletsky being a phenomenal player and, showcasing that here on the road tonight in a tough environment. I think a guy like Luke Skaljak and Peter Suter, both of those two guards, they had good first halves, but I'm expecting one of these twos to really take over this game. It could be Brant Byers, or it could be Ian Elmer, one of those 4, but I'm going to guess and say it's Skaljak or Suter, just how this game's been played so far. I mean, really, Scoutjacks put up 6 shots, and they've been 6 pretty good shots as well. Only 2 have fallen. So we always say around here in Oxford, water will find its level. Shout out Travis Steele for starting that motto around here. But, water will find its level with this team. A lot of good shots taken in that first half, and I'm expecting a lot more to fall. They shot 50% from the field, but it feels like it was worse for me personally, at least, just from where we're sitting. It felt like it was worse than 50%. But, I mean, style of play, this game was quick, though.
It did feel like it came away. The RedHawks did come away a little bit emptier from the outside shot than they normally do. About 4.5 minutes to go until tip-off. Let's talk some second half keys. I'd say I'll do OU's. You can cover Miami's after I'm done with that. OU, for me, it's just, we talked about the guard play. The guards have to be more secure with the basketball. There's been a lot of errant passes, a lot of dribbles that have just gotten away from them. And down the stretch, giving away those possessions, giving away turnovers, that cannot happen if they want to keep this game close. Because there have been times where Miami started to pull away, been up 9, 10, 11, even now up 8. I feel like they want to come out, strike a few blows, and maybe even go into this media timeout up 15, 16, leave the Bobcats wondering what hit them. And a big part for Ohio to prevent that from happening is to iron out the guard play, as well as, their three-point percentage is 30.7% and 12th in the MAC, but they've been having a solid shooting day today. 3 of 11, 27.3% from behind the arc. So if they can shoot better and have an uncharacteristically good shooting day, they're going to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, and for me, Ohio turned the ball over 7 times. Miami didn't really take too much advantage of those turnovers, though. I'd like to see, Miami continue to force these turnovers, but, work in transition, turn the defense into offense. This team flies down the court. They play their best in transition. I want to see some more transition buckets out of them. And then another thing I'll say is Antoine Woolfolk got to play physical, but not foul. I know it sounds like so.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, it's a fine line there, though. Got to play physical without fouling. Probably say 1 or 2 of those fouls maybe could have been a no call, but they got called, and that's the end. That's period. So got to figure out how to stay physical in this game, continue to be a force down in the paint, and be a great defender like he is, and stay clean in this second half. RedHawks looking to go 25-0. Can they do it, Jake?
I think so. I think they are going to take control of this game in the second half. They're going to extend it to double digits. I think they cruise to that 12-13 point victory that we both predicted. With 2:37 to go, we're going to let you go here. About 2.5 minutes until you're back with Luke West, Poley, and Andrew Relvas. Jake Zirolli and Gavin Stark with you for the halftime show. We'll be back with you for post-game content here on Red Hawk Radio, so stick around for the second half. You don't want to miss this one.
Second half about to begin here inside Millett Hall. Alongside Andrew Relvas, I'm Luke West Poley. Glad that you're with us as Miami leads Ohio 43-35 in the Battle of the Bricks. First of 2 meetings this year between these two teams. Sold out crowd again here inside Millett Hall. This has just been such an incredible year of Miami basketball, and tell you, this crowd did not get any quieter during halftime as the annual favorite King's Firecrackers were the halftime entertainment. And for many regulars, they know them and love them. For probably, I'd estimate, about the 7,500 or so that are in here that do not regularly come to games here every single year. They were introduced to them for the first time, and they are one of the best halftime acts you will see, and this crowd certainly gave them an ovation as such. As for what's gone on the court, Miami leading Ohio by 8 as mentioned. RedHawks trailed very briefly in the first minute and change of this game, but since then it's really been all Miami. They've never had any tremendous leads, just 11 points, the largest advantage Miami had in that first half before a three-pointer for Ohio to close out the first half that cut it back down to what it is right now at 8. But Miami's got to feel like they're taking care of business in most areas right now. They're even on the glass. They are sharing the basketball, 6 assists. They're winning the turnover battle. Ohio's shooting the ball a little better from the field, but Miami a little better from 3, as you would, relatively speaking, expect. And this has kind of just gone according to plan so far for Miami through 20 minutes.
Yeah, not much more you could do well here for the RedHawks. I feel like there's just been a couple of miscues, especially leading to wide open Ohio players in the paint, but overall just a really good first 20 minutes, and hopefully we get treated to a great next 20 minutes here inside Millett Hall.
Miami in the white uniforms, they go right to left. Ohio in the greens, they go left to right. Again, foul trouble to keep an eye on. A couple of bigs. Hadaway for Ohio with 3. Woolfolk for Miami with the same. Miami basketball to start you off here in the second half. Pete Suter getting ready to inbound upon confirmation from the officiating crew. And ESPN, that's capital E, ESPN tonight. They've got the A crew in here for a special 9 o'clock tip-off. Miami's gotten a couple more games flexed to national television. As long as they keep playing like this, not out of the question that it's going to be like that for probably every game, if not close to it, the rest of the year. Pete Suter looking for options on the inbound right on the half-court line. He's got to get this in. He forces it in for Luke Skaljak, who catches, nearly stumbled with the ball, but somehow caught that in a crowd. Jeff Bulls said it should have been either a 5-second or a travel call on Skaljak, but regardless, Miami now has it on the left side of the court. Skaljak on the far wing. Fakes the pass inside for Woolfolk, now goes behind the back on the dribble, works his way inside, gives back out for Byers, circles around, bumps into the contact on the right wing, and draws the foul as he tosses up a shot that catches nothing but air. But good work for Brant Byers, who was Miami's leading scorer in the first half, to just recognize the momentum of the defender coming towards him. That was J.J. Kelly, and he just went airborne over top of him, came down on Kelly, and now heads to the free throw line. First one hits the strings for Byers, who is now 5 of 7 from the free throw line. Byers is no stranger to the shooting double-figure free throws. Second one up, second one pure. Brant Byers makes it a 10-point Miami lead, 24 seconds into the second half.
Perfect way to start out, too. The RedHawks 9 for 13 from the free throw line. We've seen them struggle recently, but cleaning it up.
Kelly inserts into the post. Simmons working one-on-one against Woolfolk. Bullies towards him and had room to shoot, but he pushed it too strong off the back rim. And the rebound controlled by the RedHawks. Suter between the legs on his dribble, puts his left foot in front of the arc, and now slings it around. On the wing, it's Elmer. Stumbles towards the lane, hooks it off the glass too strong. 2 RedHawks fly in for the rebound. And it's a foul on Ohio, as both Elmer and Suter got hands on the ball, went to the ground. Neither of them ended up with it, but that's a foul. And that's on Aiden Hadaway, and that is his 4th foul for Ohio. And he's forced to exit as Dior Connors comes back in for the Bobcats.
Yeah, that's worst case scenario for Ohio. 4 fouls on Hadaway, who's a great rebounder. Only 2 points tonight, but just a big loss.
Inbound to Byers, sidesteps, puts up a 3, doesn't go, but he's fouled. Javen Simmons got into his cylinder. And again, Byers figures out a way to catch the contact, and he's got 3 shots coming up for him at the line. Byers 7 of 9 from the stripe tonight. He's taken the bulk of Miami's free throws by a long shot. First one arcs through the netting, and Miami leads at 46-35. Bit of a slow, sputtering start to this second half. We're just 57 seconds into it. Byers bounces the ball twice. Coxon fires and makes the second free throw.
Yeah, Miami as a team, 77% from the line. That's 31st in the nation and 2nd in the MAC.
Miami led the MAC in free throw shooting for most of the season before about a 2-week lapse, but Byers makes all 3 there. He's got the game lead with 15 points, 10 of them from the line, and Miami's lead is 13, their biggest of the game. Just over a minute gone by as Paveletzky backs in on the far side against Elmer. Now he fades away, and he is perfect on the jump shot. Just those 10 to 12 footers for Paveletzky have been working tonight. He's got 14 points. Meanwhile, Skaljak works his way through the paint and tossed up a circus shot that spun on the rim for a moment before deciding to go in. 50-37 Miami. They bring a double out top for Paveletzky, but he quickly outlets, and that leads to a wide open look underneath for J.J. Kelly. Miami almost forced a turnover, but Paveletzky burst through it to get that one away. And meanwhile, Luke Skaljak tries the drive and kick. He threw it right into the hands of the Bobcats and Dior Connors. Connors straight ahead across the center of the court. To the near side now, Kelly jabs from the near corner. Kelly dribbling with his left hand around the arc. Stops just short of the key, hands off Paveletzky. Straight line to the MAC logo. Underneath the free throw line. Bounces it off on the block for Javen Simmons. He tried to gather step into the paint, but was fouled in the process. And they get Suter, it looks like, and that's his second.
Yeah, no Hadaway here, so the Bobcats are going to have to rely on a lot of different players to get this offense going. 7 points for Simmons, 14 for Paveletzky. Everyone else has been relatively quiet, and the RedHawks would love to keep it that way.
Inbounding from the final letter in Miami with 20 seconds left on the shot clock. It goes in to Simmons, who tried to hand back for Paveletzky, the inbounder, and the ball came free, but Paveletzky scooped it back off the deck, and now again in the short corner it's Simmons. Brief double. RedHawks back out of it. Now it's Connors from the block, spins to the restricted area, gives back outside. 3 on the timer. Paveletzky at the logo, lets it fly. Missed everything, and shot clock expires, but before that could turn into a violation, Antoine Woolfolk's got the board for Miami. Skaljak steps right, lobs it over the top for Woolfolk. He puts it up and in off the window. Timeout Bobcats, 52-39, the Miami lead with 17:23 to go in the second half. First time we have seen the Bobcats call a timeout here in this second half. And that sends us to a full break here inside Millett Hall. RedHawks continuing to do things right coming out of the locker room. Again, that was an issue for Miami early in the season after holding double-digit leads. The opening 4 minutes was not kind to the RedHawks in many games, but they have come out and done things right here in the opening 3.5. 17:23 to go in the second half with the score Miami 52 and Ohio 39. We're back after this. You're listening to Miami Basketball on RedHawk Radio. Miami 52, Ohio 39 with 17:23 to go in the second half. RedHawks have turned an 8-point halftime lead into now a 13-point advantage, tying their largest lead of the night. Luke Poley, Andrew Relvas back with you. And again, Andrew, when you look back and reflect mostly on the non-conference slate, but also early on in MAC play for Miami, RedHawks saw humongous halftime leads get either down to a couple possessions or downright disappear against the likes of teams like Eastern Kentucky, Wright State, the UNC Asheville game in which things went back and forth. And for the RedHawks, similar situation here. You're up just shy of 10 points. They've looked good out of the break.
I mean, yeah, it just shows how much this team has really matured throughout the entire season, and they've really won all the clutch battles that they had to, and the train continues to roll for the red-hot RedHawks.
On the right wing for Ohio on the offensive end, J.J. Kelly works his way to the elbow, jumps up and scores, plus the foul. Kelly just popped up and flicked his wrist at the rim. Caught some contact on that wrist. The shot rolled around for a moment, made its way through. Kelly's got 8 points. He's got a chance for one more at the line. Meanwhile, Ian Elmer picks up his third foul for Miami. Free throw up and way short for J.J. Kelly, and Ohio is now just 4 of 9 from the stripe tonight. Suter takes it coast to coast. Stops on the left block, shoulders his way into the paint, fades away from 5, and kisses it off the window and in. Tough fade for Pete Suter. He's got to check that, rather has 10, and Miami leads at 54-41 with 16:44 to play in the second half. Drive and kick, catch and shoot 3 from the near corner, and Sheldon bottoms it out. Ohio's top 3-point shooter, A.J. Sheldon, cuts it back down to 10 with 3.5 minutes gone by. Skaljak working on the right side, just bullied Connors to the bucket, shoved him to the baseline, and pushed it in with his right hand. Dozen-point lead for Miami, brought into the front court by Jackson Pavletsky, the Wisconsin native, formerly of Wofford and Iowa State. He heads around the arc to the left wing, stops just inside the three-point line. Entry pass, Simmons faces up at the basket and just works through Antoine Woolfolk to put it off the rim and in. And that's a matchup that Ohio will likely try to expose, as Woolfolk is clearly apprehensive on the defensive end with 3 fouls.
Yeah, saw that in the Kent State game too, where Woolfolk had to just put his hands up. Can't really do much inside there.
Suter off the catch on the right side, drives a couple steps, gets fouled. His lay-in falls short, but he's got 2 free throws at the line, and that comes after the break. Ohio really getting after this officiating crew. Thought there should have been a foul on Antoine Woolfolk. I'm not entirely convinced, as again, Woolfolk was really adamant to back away from Javen Simmons on that last defensive possession for Miami. But that doesn't prevent both Simmons and his head coach Jeff Bulls from giving this crew an earful as we head into the under 16 timeout. We will step aside here from a packed house at Millett Hall. Miami leading Ohio 56-46. Still with a lot of basketball, though, left to play. You're listening to Miami basketball and the Battle of the Bricks here on Red Hawk Radio. Don't go anywhere. 15:43 remaining in the second half, but the score Miami 56 and Ohio 46. Free throws coming up for Pete Suter following the foul by Dior Connors. His first. Suter with 10 points. These are his first attempts at the line tonight. Suter airs out the first one, gets a very lucky roll, and it deposits through for him. Suter, who hit the 100 assist mark on the season against Marshall, picking up just 1 assist, but that was all he needed for Miami. And he makes the second one as well to get up to a dozen points in the game and get Miami's lead back to a dozen with 15:35 to go in the second half. 58-46, Miami in front. And again, Ohio playing without A.J. Hadaway right now. Aiden Hadaway, excuse me, on the 4 fouls. Miami there almost forced a turnover, but we've got a foul call that goes against the RedHawks and Pete Suter, and that's his third.
Yeah, that's not ideal. 3 key players for Miami with 3 fouls.
It sends Jackson Pavletsky to the free throw line, and he is dead-eye on the first. Luke Skaljak checks out of the game for Miami. Trey Perry comes on to take his spot. Limited minutes for Perry in the first half. He played 5. Second least among the RedHawks who made it in, outside of Tyler Robbins. Pavletsky makes them both. 10-point game with 15.5 to go. Suter down the left side, facing a little bit of pressure. He races right through the teeth of it to get it across the timeline on the left wing. One-hand pass to the far corner for Kirby. He comes down with it, and now it's Suter again at the logo. Drives down the right side, scoops it out. Kirby, right wing 3, bottoms! Justin Kirby, just a big shot maker. He's due for 2 to 3 of those per game. He's averaging almost 10 points a game in MAC play, believe it or not, as Miami leads it by 13 with under 15 minutes to play in regulation. Pavletsky steps back in the left wing, now heads back in, draws the double, dumps it off underneath to Jalen Breath. He didn't get it on the first attempt. Second one goes up. That missed everything. J.J. Kelly's got the secondary offensive rebound for Ohio, and he gives it back out for Jackson Pavletsky, and we've got a whistle and a shot clock issue as the shot clock reset, and I don't think any of those shots hit the rim there for the Bobcats. There were 2 of them in total, and I think both shots missed the rim. They're going to take another look, and if that's the case here, goodness, you might be looking at just 2 or 3 seconds left on the timer. Fortunately for Jeff Bowles, he's got a chance to huddle his team up and maybe draw a play here. But again, they improperly reset the shot clock, which went up to 20 and is now at 16. And just based off the way that possession was going, didn't get a glance at the shot clock when the first shot was taken, but feels like there could not have been much time left with an entire possession for Ohio and 2 offensive rebounds without any shots hitting the rim.
You just got to give so much credit to this defense on the backside for the RedHawks, right under the net, letting nothing inside. It's a no-fly zone for this Miami defense, and we'll see what happens here, but just overall another really good defensive possession where you need to be like a boa constrictor and just suck the life out of Ohio here, up by 13, but still you have a few players for Miami with foul trouble, so not out of it yet.
Elmer, Woolfolk, Suter have 3 fouls for Miami. Kelly with 3, Hadaway with 4 for Ohio.
I mean, Luke, also for Ohio, this is a team that you don't want to play around with. I mean, they're coached by Jeff Bowles, who's been in the MAC for a very long time. Dangerous team despite their tough start to the season. You just need to continue to play hard like you have all evening long tonight.
Jeff Bowles will likely hit 200 wins in his coaching career with Ohio next season. He's a guy that has had a really interesting career. He was an Ohio alum, spent some time at the Division II level, was the head coach at Stony Brook where he had good success, left that to take the job at his alma mater. And then, of course, after the 2021 season, there was a whole fiasco that went down in the coaching carousel where it was initially released that he was a done deal to Butler. That ultimately did not happen. That is coincidentally Travis Steele's alma mater, and Travis Steele had his great friend end up getting that job in Thad Matta for the Bulldogs. A guy who, by the way, If you missed it a couple nights ago, may or may not be hot-seated, but Dan Hurley said he deserves the Big East Coach of the Year award with the resources that he's got with that program in Indianapolis. That's all news, though, outside of this building. For now, the referees have come off the monitor and put 2 seconds on the shot clock for Ohio, so this has got to be something quick for the Bobcats. And Jeff Bowles did get something drawn up. He's giving some last-minute instruction to his team. They inbound it from right in front of him in the Bobcat coach's box on the far side. A.J. Sheldon is the inbounder. 4 other Bobcats spotting the front court. Inbound goes to Paveletzky. He chucks up a wild one from the far side just inside the arc. It doesn't go too long. And Byers has the rebound for Miami. 14 and a half to play. Miami up 61-48. Trey Perry controlling from up top. Feeds Byers on the near side. Byers with the ball clung to his hip, slings it down low for Justin Kirby. He's wide open, but he missed the layup. Now batting the rebound around. Kirby goes down on the floor with it, as do a couple of other players, one for each team. It is a whistle and a held ball with possession arrow belonging to the Bobcats.
Yeah, that's one that Kirby just wants back. He was wide open. No excuse not to miss that one, and Ohio will get it back. It was a 1-on-2, rose pretty high, but yeah, just a tough one there.
So unfortunate for Kirby off a really good find from up top. That would have given Miami their biggest lead. Instead, it stays at 13. 61-48 RedHawks, approaching 14 minutes to play. Connors catches the bounce pass on the right side, works diagonally to the left, dumped it underneath for Breath, and his shot gets pasted on the glass as the RedHawks go the other way. Byers catches from the logo, works his way through traffic. He threw his head back, he got fouled. And Brant Byers continues to just keep on getting hacked, as that is the 5th team foul against Ohio. Give Brant Byers the block, by the way. A little bit of length shown, and then gets it done on the other end for Miami to draw the foul. That's the first on Jalen Breath. He comes out of the game. Javen Simmons back on. Kier Kawani back on for Ohio. Fresh 25 on the timer. Miami gets it into the paint immediately, and rather Almar Atlason working one-on-one, has the size advantage and puts it in off the window. Atlason with 8 points, give Justin Kirby the assist. 63-48 Miami with 13 and a half to go. Feels like it's go time for the Bobcats here on the road. A.J. Sheldon shovels it on the far side for Paveletzky up high. Paveletzky pump fakes 2 passes to the inside, now works there with his feet. Kicks out for Kelly, his 3 from the right wing, barely scrapes the front rim. Numbers for Miami if they hurry. Suter off the catch, drives through the center of the paint and finger rolls it in. 17-point Miami lead, 65-48 with 13:07 to play. Paveletzky behind the back on the dribble, on the right wing. Shuffles his way just underneath the key. Dishes to the corner, Sheldon tosses up the 3. He gets fouled off the blow-by there from Trey Perry, who tried to block the shot. And now Miami's been fouled once on a 3. Ohio gets their chance at it as A.J. Sheldon gets set to go to the free throw line. Shot clanged off the front side of the iron. And that sends A.J. Sheldon, the senior from Dublin, Ohio, and Dublin Kaufman High School, to the free throw line. Puts up the first one and nets it. He's got 7 points in the game. Had 6 points here inside Millett Hall against Miami last season. Didn't have any in 20 minutes in the Bobcat win at the Convocation Center. Second one, 360s the rim, and funnels its way through. 65-50 the score.
Last game for Sheldon, 17 points, so he really caught fire, and Ohio's going to need a lot more of him tonight if they want to win.
Puts up the last one. That one rims out. And Almar Atlason has the rebound for Miami. Gives a high arcing pass that's pulled down by Brant Byers, who catches, brings it across the timeline. He's tripped up as he crosses the three-point arc. That's a foul. It goes against Jackson Paveletzky. That's the 6th team foul against Ohio now, so 12 minutes and 50 seconds for the Bobcats, and they'll be putting the RedHawks on the free throw line with every other foul for the rest of the game. Trey Perry, meanwhile, inbounding from the far side baseline. Gives it up top for Suter. Near wing, Atlason tosses up a 3. Short off the front iron. 2 RedHawks there for the rebound, though. Suter's got it. It's punched out of his hands, but he recovers it and now gives up top for Brant Byers. Catches a bump, tried to blow by, and his shot is swatted away by Kuwani. Off the help, Kuwani just got that with the fingertips. Now off the catch in the corner, drives his way in, kicks back out, left wing three, Pavletsky. Doesn't go, and the rebound falls out to Kirby on the far side. Meanwhile, now Trey Perry catches and just throws it back as his momentum was taking him out of bounds. And Brant Byers, just unsuspecting, caught that behind half court. And that's over and back against Miami. And so the RedHawks turn it over after a chaotic break up the floor. 12-18 to go in regulation. Trey Perry comes off. Luke Skaljak back in for Miami with a 15-point lead. Inbound to Pavletsky. Between the rings, dribbling waist high, switching his dribble between his left and right hands. Rocking the black shoes and black socks. Overhead pass near wing. Hadaway back into the game. He tosses up a three. That doesn't go. Tip back doesn't fall either for Simmons. He's got another offensive rebound. That fell off the rim, but finally one falls right to Kuwani, who is wide open on the doorstep to lay that one home. 65-52 Miami. Skaljak controlling far corner of the M. Cuts it diagonally. Crafty move. Steps back at the nail, but he misses the jump shot. Meanwhile, Kirby chasing after the rebound. And he got it out of the hands of Hadaway, but touched it while stepping on the baseline. And it's Ohio basketball after we step aside here from Millett Hall. Under 12 timeout in Oxford with the score, Miami 65 and Ohio 52. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Battle of the Bricks and Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. Twenty-third ranked Miami leads Ohio 65-52 at the 11:44 mark of the second half. Bobcat basketball coming out. Ohio's first game against a ranked MAC opponent since 2019 when they were facing, of course, Nate Oates' Buffalo team. Second ranked opponent of the year for Ohio. They faced Louisville earlier this year down at the Yum Center. And the Bobcats have played the majority of this game from behind, trying to chip into this lead as we approach the halfway mark of the second. Hadaway into the game. He's got it on the block. Gives it out to the top. Kuwani's three ball got partially deflected. Brant Byers got a paw on it there, and the RedHawks end up with a loose ball. Skaljak picks up his dribble right of the key, finds Byers, who climbs up the baseline, works through the contact, tossed it up. Too strong, got his own rebound on the block. He just works his way into the contact, and he gets fouled as the ball goes flying away. Byers was just looking for something there. He had his feet set, he couldn't move, and ultimately just decided to go up with it. Drew the foul against Kuwani, 2 shots for Brant Byers. 7th foul as a team on Ohio. Byers' first one up and just a hair long as it bounces off the back heel, front rim, and falls out.
Miami's in the bonus as well, so this is going to be an even more of an uphill climb for the Bobcats if they want to escape Oxford with a win.
And Byers makes the second one. A couple of Byers' high school teammates at the Perkiomen School out in Pennsylvania. They're coming along in the right time down at the University of Florida, and Byers hoping that he can do the same after a tough night against Marshall. He's had a great one here tonight with 16 points. 66-52 Miami. Paveletzki working on a mismatch against Woolfolk. He bumps into him and fades away from 10 feet. That rolls off both sides of the rim, and Elmar Atlason ends up with the board for Miami. Skaljak stops his dribble at the top and plays catch with Kirby. Has it again between the rings. Bounces off. High elbow left for Antoine Woolfolk. Puts it on the deck. Shoulders in on Paveletzki. Kicks to the near corner. Elmer was open for 3. Now he steps by his man. Trying to go up for a poster dunk, but he got fouled and the ball flew free as a result. Oh, man. He was about to throw that down right through the face of J.J. Kelly. Meanwhile, Kelly picks up his 4th foul for Ohio.
Yeah, that one, if he made it, would have gone straight to Sports Center.
Elmer's been known to do that. A time or two here at Miami. Had a poster against Toledo last season. Had a nice alley-oop against Maine earlier this year. Elmer at the line for 2 shots. He clangs the first one off strong and kind of punches the ball back to the ref in frustration. 66-52, Miami leads Ohio. They've got the possession arrow and 3 timeouts. Bobcats with 2. Miami shooting the single bonus. Elmer's second one up and in on the shooting foul. And it is a 15-point lead for the RedHawks. Once again, it's 67-52. Paveletzki down the left wing, crosses the half-court line, and works his way laterally to the right. Now back on the left side, weaves his way through traffic, stops just underneath the key, tosses it up, looking for Simmons. He comes down with it on the far block, double-teamed right away. He dumps it off for Hadaway, who slithers through to the rim to lay it in for 2. Hadaway playing on the 4 fouls. He's got just 4 points. Ohio's second leading scorer. Miami's done a good job on him, and of course they've been limiting his minutes as well. Elmer just steps back and takes a 3, and he knocks it down. Early in the shot clock, it don't matter for Ian Elmer. One of Miami's top volume 3-point shooters, makes it a 16-point RedHawk lead at 70-54. Simmons bumps down the right lane line, lofts it up over Antoine Woolfolk, and that rolled off the backside of the rim, and the RedHawks have the rebound. Skaljak swirls into the paint, tried to throw it to the far side where Kirby was waiting, but it's deflected away by Hadaway. Hadaway deep into the corner for J.J. Kelly. He finds his man in the paint, and Simmons, who goes up through 2 defenders to get contact and missed the shot but was fouled. So Javen Simmons heads to the free throw line after some levitation. He's on the brink of double figures with 9. Only Bobcat with 10 or more is Paveletzki with 16. Fouls against Luke Skaljak, that's his first. First free throw pure for Javen Simmons. 9 or more points for him in all but 1 MAC game this year. 7 in the opener against Bowling Green, coming off a 14-point outing in a frustrating Bobcat loss against Old Dominion. Second free throw pops out on him, and Justin Kirby ends up with the board for Miami. 15-point RedHawk lead at 70-55. 9:15 to play in regulation. Skaljak slowly, methodically down the right side, now works quickly to the middle, finds Atlason, deep 3, rattles off. Rebound, though, poked out by the RedHawks, ends up with Skaljak, left-handed 3. That goes! Woolfolk taps it out, Skaljak nails a three, and Miami leads it by 18, their biggest advantage of the night with 8:52 to play.
Rim is wide open for Miami, and just another perfect look by Luke Skaljak there, top of the key.
He's got 12. Now in the far corner, Hadaway tries a tray. Clangs off the back iron. Atlas in the rebound. Skaljak up ahead down the left side. Measured with his step. Comes around a screen set by Woolfolk. Backs between the circles. Puts it in to the paint. Woolfolk slings it back outside. Nearly got away from him. Elmer lays out to go grab it for Miami. And now it's back reset at the top for Skaljak. Skaljak goes into the paint by himself. Finds Kirby underneath, who's swatted from behind on that jump up attempt. It was knocked out by Javen Simmons, who thinks his team should have the ball. But at the very least, he did attack that basketball and prevent Justin Kirby from getting an easy bucket. Miami's got a chance to extend the lead to 20 here for the first time tonight. They've got 8 left on the timer with 8:17 to play. Skaljak, the inbounder. Puts it in low post for Woolfolk. Finds his way by and gets fouled. And again, he was looking to posterize J.J. Kelly. And the question is, will they get Kelly with the foul? They do give the foul to Kelly. He was one of 2 Bobcats in the area, and J.J. Kelly's night is over. 8 points in 26 minutes, and he's fouled out of the game for the Bobcats. In addition, that is the 9th foul for Ohio. It's a shooting foul, so 2 free throws coming up for Antoine Woolfolk as Pete Suter and Brent Byers check back in for Miami. But the RedHawks shooting 2 the rest of the way. And Antoine Woolfolk, who is a 61% free throw shooter, has a chance to make it a 20-point Miami lead. Woolfolk, who's averaging 10 points a game this year, has been held under double figures in 2 of the last 4, which has not been the case in most MAC games this year. First free throw, though, rattles out on him. He's got just 4 here tonight, but has been a physical presence on the glass. 4 rebounds and has been a major part of Kelly fouling out and Hadaway getting into some serious foul trouble. He takes an extended break, takes a breath, and now gives up the second free throw, and that one is good for him. 74-55, Miami leads Ohio with 8:10 to go. This is a gotta-have-it next couple minutes for the Bobcats here on the road. Pavletsky slings it across for Sheldon, cuts diagonally to the elbow, turnaround, low percentage shot is too long, but an offensive rebound for Hadaway, and he is fouled by the RedHawks. And with an even 8 minutes on the timer, they'll take the timeout, and we will too. 74-55, Miami leading Ohio here in the battle for the bricks. RedHawks have a chance to tie another school record tonight. We'll let you know what that is when we come back. You're listening to Miami Basketball in the Battle of the Bricks on RedHawk Radio. 8 minutes to play in the second half with the score Miami 74 and Ohio 55. Another sellout here inside Millett Hall. Over 10,000 in attendance, and mentioned Miami's on some school record watch. If they could win this game, they'd be 25-0. And that would tie last year's mark of 25 wins for most in program history. Just another record that could go down with this team here this year. Ohio's got to get it in gear. They've got it on the offensive end coming out of this timeout. Jesse Burris with a pump fake, works his way to the right elbow. Jumper from there rolls around the rim and finds its way in. Burris rocking the hot pink shoes, but has not had a great shooting night. That's just his first 2 points. And now Miami controls on the offensive end with a 74-57 advantage, and the RedHawks take it a little slower. Suter hands off for Kirby on the right wing. Back between the rings, Skaljak leaves it for Woolfolk, who slips it underneath for a cutting Suter down the left lane, and he's got an easy lay-in. Lead has not hit 20 yet for Miami, but it has been at this, 19 with 7:13 to go. Ohio back to the offensive end. Hadaway with an up and under through traffic, and he puts it in with the left hand. 7 minutes to play. Miami up 76-59. Skaljak circles around the right side, kicks left side. 3 for Byers is good. Timeout Bobcats. It's a 20-point lead for the first time tonight for the Miami RedHawks. And they're looking to ride this one out as both teams come together a little bit. Referees separate them as they both head to their huddles. This place is just a fun house right now inside Millett Hall. It has been that way all night long. And again, credit to this Miami team. You love the nail biters. They're great. They're exciting. But I think there were a lot of questions out there about why a team this good was letting it come down to the wire so many times. And the RedHawks put the hammer down against Marshall last week, and they are really putting the hammer down on Ohio right now.
Yeah, this is when you want to start peaking, you know, a couple of weeks before the MAC tournament coming up. This is where you want to find your footing, and up by 20 against your rival. That's got to be a good feeling. Although tensions have flared a little bit, the passion has been all the way on the way of the RedHawks, and they're just about 7 minutes away from making it 25 in a row and on national TV as well.
So Ohio takes it from left to right with under 7 minutes to play. Bobcats looking to avoid falling back to 500 on the year. Pavletsky spinning away on Suter, works his way to the MAC logo, hooked it up with the right hand and lined it off the front rim. RedHawks have the rebound. And with 6.5 to go, again, Miami takes it slow. Suter holding overhead. Bullet for Kirby near side. Back up top, Byers. Short pass, Suter on the right wing. Suter picks up his dribble. Left foot on the arc. Hands off for Skaljak. Bounce back into the post for Suter. He rips it away from his man. No look pass in the near corner looking for Kirby. It was too tall, and it goes into the stands. But that is just the 8th turnover on Miami tonight. Credit Ohio, by the way. They only have 7 after they were starting to rack them up around the midway mark of the first half. Bobcats have significantly cleaned that up, but they have cooled off in terms of their shooting numbers. Approaching 6 minutes to play, Miami leads it by 20. Pavletsky bullies his way into the lane, and it's an offensive foul as he gave a forearm right to the upper body of Peter Suter, who fell down to the hardwood. And Miami set to get it back here and turn the clock under 6 minutes to go.
It feels like every possession that Miami has had with about 10 minutes left has been long possessions. That's exactly what you need. You can really soil this one away against Ohio.
Suter dribbling with his left hand. 1 foot in the circle. Saunters to the right. Banks it for Woolfolk straight away. Woolfolk gives a little shake and bake move. Hands off for Skaljak. 6 on the timer. Skaljak between logo and three-point line. Jabs, tees up a 3. Missed it short. Rebound flies over Byers' head. Ends up with the Bobcats. And now Pavletsky from left to right. Accelerates Pavletsky straight into the teeth of Miami's defense. He's fouled. And I've got no idea what Jeff Bowles is arguing for here. Maybe a clear path foul, it sounds like. And so the referees will take another look at this. The foul was called, but again, a clear path would give you free throws and the ball. So the officials going to the monitor here. 5:28 to go, second half, with Miami leading Ohio 79-59. Look at what's ahead, Andrew, for Miami, and there are still some tough games left on the schedule. You have Ohio again to wrap up the regular season, and again, that game is on the road, and Ohio has been phenomenal under Jeff Bowles at home, and that has continued into this year. Bobcats are much better at home than they are on the road, 9-4 inside the Convo this year. In addition to that, you've got Toledo here at home. You've got a directional Michigan trip that on paper maybe doesn't look so menacing, but that tripped you up last year when you were on quite a roll. Miami stumbled against the directional Michigan teams last season late in the year. That was kind of the turning point for Miami that led to that postseason run, showed them that they weren't exactly world beaters heading into postseason play last year. Travis Steele said it was ultimately good for his team, but when you've won this many games in a row to start the season, at this point there are arguably no losses that are really good for your team anymore. You're trying to win them all. And in addition to that, Miami's got Bowling Green at home, a team that was really highly touted in preseason. They've been a little bit up and down. They've got some quality wins. They've got some pretty rough losses. But when they're at their peak, they are one of the better teams in this league, arguably a top 4, top 5 team. And in addition to that, talk about what's coming up next for Miami on Tuesday. They go to UMass, which is a team that took Miami right down to the wire, and really one of the first big home games that approached a sellout for Miami here inside Millett Hall. The RedHawks took down the Minutemen 86-84 on January 27th, and they have given the clear path foul to Ohio. So it prevented a scoring opportunity. So that puts Jackson Pavletsky on the free throw line. And that means it's free throws plus the ball for the Bobcats as Pavletsky cashes in on the first. And this is just exactly what you don't want at this juncture if you're Miami, as Pavletsky buries them both. And I believe this should be Bobcat basketball here coming out.
Yeah,
and indeed it is, with 20 on the shot clock.
This is just a tough result for the RedHawks, but you got an 18-point lead to build with. That was worst case scenario, and it doesn't really hurt them too much. And
2 points with the clock stopped for Ohio. And now a second crack at it on this possession as Pavletsky inbounds from the near side baseline. Gets rid of it, gets it in for Hadaway. Up high, just inside the arc. Works his way to his left, picks up his dribble, chest pass, Pavletsky, circles to the left side, bullet pass near wing. Kawani steps aside, works his way into the lane, bounce pass back out, Hadaway. Thought about the extra up top, instead he hangs on. 4 on the timer. It goes straight away for Sheldon. Down the middle of the lane, his shot blocked, and Miami ends up with it at the death of the shot clock. Now a dime pass up ahead from Woolfolk to Kirby, but he couldn't finish it. Woolfolk with a quarterback pass the length of the court. Kirby caught it, but his shot got blocked. Now a transition tray for Ohio. That doesn't go for Aiden Hadaway. And Miami can catch and slow now as the clock bleeds under 5 minutes to go with the RedHawks up 79-61.
yeah, those possessions just not great by Ohio. No one's really taking an initiative. They just continue to kick it out, and they need some points, and they need them quick.
Byers tries to go up the baseline. He got his space occupied by Jesse Burris, who collects the foul. Burris picks up his second. And that sends Brant Byers to the free throw line, and Miami's in the double bonus the rest of the way. 4:36 to go. Miami 79, Ohio 61. 19 points in the game for Brant Byers, who takes a breath and puts the first free throw through. His career high is 27 points. That came against Wright State earlier this year. Again, a guy that's just been shooting a ton of free throws, but coming off a season low 4 points against Marshall. He clatters in the second shot. The lead is back up to 20 for Miami with 4:34 to play. Pavletsky brings it into the offensive end. He gallops and slings it to the left side where Sheldon weaves his way through traffic, gives back out for Burris. Shot fake, works his way through, floats it up on the run, and scores it from 10 feet. Miami quickly inbounds. Jack volleyball passes it back for Pete Suter, who slowly bounds his way up the floor into the front court. Now he accelerates down the right side, picks up his dribble on the far block. Finds Elmer near wing, circles the paint. Elmer gathers, lays it up with the right hand and in. Ian Elmer up to 15 points. Miami lead back to 20 as we're under 4 minutes to play. Quick catch and shoot three for Jesse Burris. Hits the strings. And again, when things have all been going Miami's way, the RedHawks have pretty much put this to bed. Ohio's kind of hit that one shot. It's felt like maybe they won't go away just yet, but the RedHawks still with a large advantage with 3.5 to go.
Pretty good defense, too. Just got to give credit to the shooter there.
RedHawks were trying to find Byers on a cut. Suter sent a bullet pass down low, deflected out of bounds. It stays with Miami with 12 on the shot clock, and it sends us to our final media timeout. History watch again for Miami, a chance to tie the school record for wins tonight, and most importantly, improve to 25-0 and keep that 0 in the loss column. RedHawks looking to take down rival Ohio and finish the job when we come back. Again, 3:26 to play with the score Miami 83 and Ohio 66. You're listening to the Battle of the Bricks and Miami basketball on Red Hawk Radio. Miami 83, Ohio 66. RedHawks trying to put the finishing touches on a Battle of the Bricks win. With 3 and change to play, Poley, Andrew Relvas with you. 12 on the shot clock. Miami's got it on the offensive end. They have led for 94% of this game. And the RedHawks inbound it to Pete Suter, buried in the far corner, works his way out to the top of the key. Now bullies his way to the inside, fades away in heavy traffic and makes the mid-range jumper. Jesse Burris in his grill might have been an understatement, and Suter still finds a way. He's got 18.
A really tough shot, and Suter makes it look easy. He's had an excellent game tonight.
Feels like his game has just gone to another level after a bit of a slower start by his standards to this season. Pavletsky, meanwhile, pulls up from the right elbow, and he knocks down the jumper. 85-68 Miami as the Bobcats pick up pressure with 2:46 to go. Suter goes right down the middle of 2 pressing defenders to cross the timeline.
Yeah, both sides trading blows now. You'll take that if you're Miami up 17. No reason to worry.
Jack holding up top, 10 on the timer, works his way to the elbow, dribbled it off his foot. Ball comes free to Jackson Pavletsky, who's tripped up by Byers. And he's called for the foul, and that's the 8th against Miami. So Jackson Pavletsky head to the free throw line for some bonus shots. And also credit to this RedHawks team for not fouling in this second half. Antoine Woolfolk picked up 3. He has not fouled anybody in the second half. Ian Elmer up to 4, but both he and Pete Suter were in some trouble. That was a non-factor in this game. Pavletsky buries the first free throw.
Nice rebound performance for Pavletsky. 21 points on 7 of 15 shooting as well.
21 points for him in the game, which is right on par with many other performances he's had in MAC play as he makes the second free throw. His career high is actually 28 points. He's done it 5 times in his career. 85-70 to the Miami lead. Again, pressure picked up by the Bobcats. Miami breaks it thanks to a pass in the right wing that finds Antoine Woolfolk. He settles it down, dribbling, waste time with the left hand. Accelerates towards the paint, picks up his dribble, tried to toss up a two-handed shot that hit off the backboard but no rim. And the Bobcats have the rebound. 2:07 to go in this game, Miami by 15. Inside, it's Simmons working 1 against 2, and he babies one through. Over top of Brant Byers with Woolfolk providing help from the back. Just like that, it's a 13-point game as, again, pressure picks up for the Bobcats, but Miami breaks it easily, but now Ian Elmer has it punched from his grasp. He regathers. Pete Suter ends up with it off the handoff, and he's fouled. And crowd not liking that Suter chucked up a shot well after the whistle, and it was reached up for and knocked out of there by Aiden Hadaway, but that's just kind of what basketball players do. Nothing too harmful there. Suter going to the free throw line for 2 shots after he got fouled out near half court. And he buries the first one.
You got to give credit to Coach Bowles keeping his team in this game down by a significant margin, but they've kept their heads up and they've done their best in a hostile environment.
Down by 15 now, 87-72 with 1:42 to go. Simmons drives down the left side and looked to give it up for Hadaway under the basket, but just missed him. Threw it out of bounds. And it's Miami ball. After Simmons turns it over, RedHawks take Antoine Woolfolk off the floor, and that might be his final seat of the night. Almar Atlason comes back on for Miami as the Bobcats pick up pressure, and Suter bounces it across the timeline on the left wing. Skaljak has it from there. Sidesteps his way to the middle of the floor. 1:23 to go in the game, Miami by 15. Skaljak dribbling with his left hand. Lost it over the top for Suter, who catches but misses a tough angle layup. Kind of working from behind the backboard. Rebound to Pavletsky, straight ahead. He throws up a 3. It's off the back rim. Rebound batted around, bouncing on the floor. Skaljak's got it for Miami. And now Ohio pulls back. Under a minute to go, and take a chance to savor it inside Millett Hall. This crowd rises to their feet, and even Travis Steele is throwing his arms up in the air to egg them on. Skaljak motors down the left side, kicks out. Atlason, 3-ball. Yes, sir. And that is the dagger for Miami. They hit the 90-point mark. They go up 18. Shot and game clock difference around 14 seconds. As Hadaway controls from the left elbow, gives back out for Sheldon. He fell down, got back up to his feet. Hands off for Hadaway down the middle of the floor. He slashes across the paint and lays it up and in. But it will all be for naught as the shot clock turns off. Miami brings it into the front court. Luke Skaljak dribbling it for the RedHawks. He's got to get rid of it, finds Elmer on the far side, and that will be it. The final 15 seconds will roll off the clock. Miami is going to tie a school record that Travis Steele set with this team last year. 25 wins, but again, 0 losses for the Miami RedHawks. And the 23rd ranked team in the country in front of a sellout crowd downs rival Ohio in convincing fashion tonight as the clock hits zeros and Miami picks up the victory by a final score of 90-74. And again, just a breath of fresh air for this team over the last couple of weeks. Andrew, you play a tight one on the road against Buffalo. That's probably how it will be in true road games the rest of the year. But the reality is, no matter how good the opponent is the rest of the year inside this building, the RedHawks feel that they should be taking care of business and doing so handedly. And they have been proving that over these last couple of home outings.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Steele has said it time in and time out. All the teams that Miami is going to face, they're going to give you their best shot. They're going to be tough games no matter what. Don't underestimate the Michigan teams that Miami has to play soon. But, I mean, just what a win for the RedHawks. 16-point victory against the Ohio Bobcats. Feels great to beat your rival. And 41 combined points for Byers and Suter, who really brought this game home for the RedHawks, and in front of a sellout crowd again and on national TV. It was a great night to be a RedHawk.
And the whole team over there on our right side, mingling with a large student crowd, about 7,000 student tickets that were out for this game. And again, we just keep saying it because it's true. 2 years ago, this would have seemed crazy, and yet this is the reality that Miami basketball lives in 2026. Miami now with 29 consecutive home wins. That extends upon a school record, and they've got a chance to go for their 26th win in a single season, which would be a school record on Tuesday on the road against the Minutemen of Massachusetts. Ohio led for only 37 seconds in this game. Their last lead was before we hit the 2-minute mark, and then Miami put it in cruise control. A comfortable, tidy 90-74 win for the Miami RedHawks here tonight. Brant Byers leads them with 21. Pete Suter had 20. A really well-rounded win for this Miami team, who plays 5 different players into double figures in this game. And the RedHawks just continue to play their style of ball. It is deep, and it is fun to watch for all of us here inside Millett Hall. We will next be on the air with you for Miami basketball coming up next Friday. And that is a special 8:30 tip-off time for the RedHawks. Again, on a national TV flex against the Bowling Green Falcons. We will have a doubleheader with Miami hockey starting a little early at 5:30 next weekend against Minnesota Duluth. And that's the next time you'll hear from us on our RedHawk radio airwaves. Again, 5:30 with a 5 o'clock pregame for Miami hockey on Friday night next week, followed by men's basketball with game break coverage following hockey, and an 8:30 tip between the RedHawks and the Bowling Green Falcons. So that'll wrap things up for my partner Andrew Relvas. I'm Luke West Poley signing off. We'll have post-game coverage with Jake Zirolli and Gavin Stark after the break. Again, your final score tonight, Miami 90 and Ohio 74, as the RedHawks pick up the win in the battle for the bricks, as Miami picks up their largest margin of victory in this series over the last 4 meetings. And the RedHawks are victors for the 25th straight game to start this season. We'll talk to you next weekend. Until then, thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Miami basketball on RedHawk Radio. Post-game coming up after the break.
Miami stays undefeated at 25-0. Welcome into the post-game show. Gavin Stark alongside Jake Zirolli with the RedHawks. They dominate the entire second half. They had the lead throughout the entire game, and they continued it into the second half, 90-74 finish. A lot of key players contributing tonight for the RedHawks. You know, it starts with Brant Byers with 21 and Peter Suter with 20 to highlight the scoring side of things. And on the other side, Jackson Pavletsky with a phenomenal game as well with 22 points. But, Jake, the RedHawks, they continue to prevail in winning ways, this one in a dominant fashion in the second half. What was the key tonight?
I mean, I think for me it was just their shooting. We had remarked in halftime and even in pregame that if they were able to shoot the ball well, they would run Ohio out of the gym. Ohio being the worst three-point defending team in the MAC, going into this game, yielding a 35.8 three-point percentage to their opponents. Today, Miami shot 50% from 3. Even for a team that shoots it as good as them, a top 10 shooting team in the country, that's still nuts to be 1 of 2 on average from 3. They shot really, really well from beyond the arc, especially in that second half. Brant Byers being 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. Elmer making 2, as did Skaljak and Atlason. Kirby adding 1 of his own. And really, what decided it for me, we talked about this at halftime as well, was the guard play for Ohio. We thought they needed to get a little more buttoned up in the backcourt, and we saw more backcourt turnovers. We saw more instability from the Bobcat guards. Outside of Pavletsky, he had a really great game, a cracker of a game from him, 7 of 16 from the floor, 7 of 8 from the free throw line as well. Very buttoned up there, adding 4 rebounds and 3 assists. So he was doing it all. Just really didn't get much from his other guards. You know, A.J. Sheldon had 8, Jesse Burris had 7, and Dior Connors had 3. And, I mean, even J.J. Kelly fouling out, the starter, with 8 points after 24 minutes, having to have a seat with 5 fouls. So the guard play really is for Ohio. They needed to ramp that up in the second half, and they just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the way the game played out, it was almost like Pavletsky's so good, he's probably going to get his. But we've got to eliminate the rest of the guard play, like you said there. Like, the rest of the guard play, we need to defend well and make sure they're not doing anything to take over this game and really make it to where upset watch is on. And I think that's exactly what happened. You know, they defended the other guards well and made it kind of a one-man show, especially in the second half. It was like Pavletsky was just on his last breath, on his last leg, just fighting and crawling for, you know, a chance late down the stretch, but ultimately didn't have it. 90-74 RedHawks win. It feels better because this one's on ESPN. But
national recognition for the boys. Really, you're just going to get more of it as you keep winning. We were talking, Gavin and I were doing, we were calling the game ourselves on the backup gear just for some reps and some tape, and we were saying that you can only play whoever's on your schedule. So all the trolls in the Instagram comments saying, oh, they haven't played anybody, their cupcake schedule, 300-plus strength of schedule. You can only play the teams you have in front of you, and I don't care if you're in the SEC or the SWAC. You still play who is on your schedule, and if you win all those games, you can't just be shut down and pushed away like that. And this team not only showing that they can shoot the lights out, which of course they certainly can, not only showing that their offense is a well-oiled machine, they're showing some mentality, because even early in that first half, they were going back and forth. They never were really down much. I mean, their largest deficit was 2, and that was a minute and 2 seconds into the game when Ohio led 4-2. I mean, Miami led from it being 6-5 with 18-18 left in the first half all the way through the game. So they never really faced adversity like they did in, say, the UMass or Northern Illinois games, the last 2 home games. But they still did have to go out and win this game. There wasn't any just laying back and being able to rely on mistakes to then capitalize and turn them into points. They had to get into their offensive sets and win the game based off their own accord, which is something they're going to have to do. We talked about in March, both in the MAC tournament and, God willing, the NCAA tournament.
Right. And the RedHawks continue to win now 29 consecutive wins here inside of Millett Hall, 25-0 on the season. They defend their home court once again and get another victory. The sole remaining undefeated team sits here inside of Oxford, Ohio. Thanks so much for listening to the post-game show in the entire game here on Red Hawk Radio. I've been Gavin Stark, Jake Zirolli, saying so long tonight. We wish you guys a great weekend and can't wait to see where the RedHawks can do next. 25-0. Thanks.